It's time for Sports Day.
Beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
Turn it up. It's Sports Day with Dan Day.
The Heat win against the Pelicans last night by 49 points, 153 to 104. I'm not so much proud of the Miami Heat winning hugely by 49 points and scoring more points in a win than they've ever scored in their team's history. I'm more embarrassed about the Pelicans' performance. Absolutely horrific. Like, it was painful. I don't know if you watch it. I'm Dan Day, by the way, with my cousin Vladimir Lewison. If you don't know already, I am a New Orleans born and bred child, but I am a Miamian now. So kind of playing with house money last night, but it was like watching a one-sided, lopsided fight. Like, you're like, just in, no, stop. No, that's not fair. No, stop. It was hurtful.
I was thinking about you watching that game.
It was embarrassing.
How did you feel? Were you torn?
No, I was like, look, the Heat need to win this game more than the Pelicans need. The Pelicans aren't even obviously trying to win. But man, that's just ugly. And it's not the Heat's fault. It's more the Pelicans' fault than anybody.
I mean, you guys were playing G Leaguers.
God, they were terrible. Well, they cut it to 6 at one point. Jose Alvarado, don't hold your ears and dance around when you hit a three when you know you're on that garbage of a team.
Well, he's got to do something.
Try to get the crowd hype. I'll give the crowd credit.
Was this the last home game of the season?
Just forfeit the last game of the year if it's going to be like that. If you're going to lose by 49 to the Heat, oh my goodness. So I'm not sitting there going, the Heat are in the right direction, pumping my chest. Look, Miami Heat doing what they need to do now that they're in the 10th spot. They're primed to make a run. They're going to beat the Washington Wizards tomorrow and watch. No. That game was absolute doo-doo. I mean, embarrassing doo-doo. Oh. That is not a get-right game for the Heat. That is a just get out of there and kind of feel ashamed. Not even ashamed of yourself. The Pelicans should be more ashamed of themselves. That was just nasty work. But can't blame the Heat. Maybe the Heat, open up some floodgates right there, exercise some demons, start getting ready for the Washington Wizards, who are also trying to lose all their games. So soft landing at the end of the season for the Miami Heat as they get ready for the Chicago Bulls, because we now know the Miami Heat are locked into the 10th spot. They will be playing the Bulls Wednesday night. The time to be determined. My hope is, Vlad this week showed us Chicago and the Heat both played each other earlier this week with high stakes. I'm not going to say a lot on the line, but really Miami had a chance to, if they won out on the season, they beat the Bulls. Atlanta Hawks lost a game that could actually go to the 8th seed. Bulls knew that they had to get this win to kind of lock up at minimum a 9th seed. The Bulls took care of business. Now your only hope for the Miami Heat is not that they can go in there and just be better than the Bulls, but that they can have a revenge on their minds.
I think
they go in there and outplay them.
I think that game will be Wednesday night at 8 p.m.
Okay, it has not been determined yet.
Yeah, but considering the other 9-10 game is Dallas at Sacramento.
Dallas at Sacramento. Anthony Davis almost had a quadruple-double last night for all those people that are hating on him.
Yeah, but where was he on Tuesday night?
I'm just saying, he almost had a quadruple, not triple.
That's great. You're playing against what? Like the Brooklyn Nets or something?
Yeah, something don't matter.
Yeah, you were playing against bums.
NBA is NBA. I mean, they're not going to take the record away from the Heat last night with the 53 points.
No, you're right. But, do it when it matters. So, yeah, I think that game will be an 7:30 or 8 p.m. game on Wednesday night.
So Wednesday night, win or go home. If you win, you go into another play-in game, and on the road,
play the loser of the 7-8 game,
which is Orlando and Atlanta.
Right, Atlanta going to Orlando.
I think of all the teams, Atlanta we have the best chance of beating. I'm talking about I'm talking about the Bulls too. You got the revenge on the mind, so the wound is fresh. So maybe turn around, go to Chicago, slip one by the Bulls, then you get probably Atlanta. Orlando, get in, and then Vlad, you're rewarded if you can get 2 road wins, which no team has ever done as a 10 seed in the play-in, which has only been a couple of years. Nonetheless, you'll get Cleveland
Sunday night. You get Cleveland.
You'll get Cleveland. Now let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. After that, we'll let the chips fall where they may. But wow, crazy road. This has been a very, very, I wouldn't even say up and down season, although there's been some highs. There's been a lot of lows this season for the Miami Heat. Last night, I wouldn't say it was a high at all. I would say it was a low for the Pelicans.
Oh, it was a high.
Is that a high?
It was a team high.
Is that a high?
It was a team high for the Heat.
Beat up on a dead dog.
It was high. Like, wait a minute, you just said, hey, no, Anthony Davis. Had
Oh, it does. It counts. No.
Okay, then. So,
The high this year, I can say it, no matter what happens with the Wizards, the high this year was either beating the Celtics by 20 or beating Jimmy Butler and the Warriors the other day. Those were our highs. Well, remains to be seen, though. We still got some playing games and we got the playoffs, so we shall see. A lot of good stuff going on in and around the sports world. We're going to get to the headlines. Some bad stuff also going on. Once again, we'll get to those headlines. We'll also have Daniel Solana joining us in the 2 o'clock hour. A lot going on with Inter Miami. He was texting me like 50 different things. Like, you need more bullet points? I'm like, no, man. If we're in Inter Miami, we're just going to go number 1, best thing. Number 2, second best thing. Number 3, third best thing. Number 4, fourth best thing. Inter Miami got a lot of good things going on. And of course, we got the spring game. 3 o'clock pregame. We're going to lead you into that. It's going to start around 4 o'clock. It's going to finish around 6 o'clock. A spring game's a weird thing, Vlad, because it doesn't really have those quote-unquote set parameters. Honestly, if they feel like at some point enough is enough, they'll blow the whistle and say, all right, we're not finishing this game, which, we'll see. No Carson Beck, but good news. Is there good news? Yes. Carson Beck supposed to begin throwing Monday. So they're holding him out of this spring game, and then they're going to start throwing on Monday.
Richie, that's funny. Ask Solana to explain aggregates. By the way, I didn't like that, by the way. I didn't like what they did to you. You explained yourself perfectly clear. And these two numbskulls I was very upset. They tried to play with my cousin. I ain't like that, man.
So earlier this week is on Tobin and Leroy, who know nothing about soccer at all. If it struck them in the face, they wouldn't know what it is. And Leroy likes to argue about everything like a true Southern Cajun dude. And I basically broke it down as easily as I possibly could. And they threw a wrench in it. And then they tried to say, well, what if it's tied at the end of regulation? I go, what else did I say? You have to win the game. If at the end of the game, when they blow no, I'm not getting into it again. Richie, you knew what I meant. That's enough. I'm not even getting into that. I'm not going to let that midday show bleed into my good vibes this weekend, man, because there are a lot of good vibes. But Vlad, we're going to start. Yeah, for me. I mean, I'm feeling great.
Okay, I'm just saying. I thought
we got the big fight tonight, UFC.
No.
And if you can't afford the $8,000 ticket to get in,
is it $8,000?
Dude, my homeboy Ian, I saw him at Funky Buddha this Monday. He's like, dude, I bought tickets front row for UFC. I go, front row? He goes, front row, the very top upper deck tier. I was like, still front row, $480. Upper deck, UFC.
Upper deck.
Nosebleed. He's on the front row of the nosebleed, though. He said
front row of the nosebleed.
Yeah.
So front row, like where blood could splatter on you, would be 4,000.
No. Oh, yeah.
That's what I was. No, because you said 4,000. Like,
there's 2 types of nosebleed sections.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But when you started out the story with 4,000, then you talked about nosebleeds, and I'm like, well, no, I'm more interested on the 4,000 for a ticket, bro.
No. He paid $480.
I know him.
Right.
No, but you said it's 4,000 a ticket.
It's probably
that's what you said. That's how you started off your story.
To sit on the floor, it's probably between $4,000 and $5,000.
Jeez.
It's $480 for upper deck.
That's what. Yeah. So you got to figure like that's 10% of what the floor, of what floor seats where you might be by the president. The president's probably down here.
He is. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was at Duffy's in Plantation last night. You can get in for $5. They'll give you a $5 bounce back coupon, and you get 2-for-1 drinks. Or you can go to the Kaseya Center and get a. I don't even know. It's probably sold out. Sabrina's probably not working tonight. Damn. Because the last I heard of her on Thursday, she told me, I'll see you in 2 weeks, which, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. Maybe they will. It's going to be a busy night, but yeah.
In 2 weeks?
I don't know what she's got stuff going on. I don't know. I don't know everybody's personal life. I don't keep up with all my bartenders' personal lives, but yeah, I'm guessing UFC 315 is sold out.
Absolutely.
It's expensive as
absolutely.
314. I'm sorry.
314 sold out. 315 will probably be sold out, but 314 in Miami sold out. Another big event it's been 3 big events month to month. You had the Miami Open.
Yeah, that's huge. Tennis.
You had Homestead for NASCAR.
You also had the Live Golf.
You had Live Golf last week. Now you have UFC, and the next month will be F1.
F1 in May. That's May, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they already started. Getting prepared for that. They've taken down the tennis courts, and they're starting to put the track together. I went by the stadium the other day, and I started seeing a lot of the F1.
Quite a spectacle.
Trucks and stuff like that getting ready.
quite a spectacle out there, the F1 racing. So let's get to the headlines, some highlights and some lowlights. We're going to start with the lowlight. In the next segment, we'll really kind of dive into this more because you and I haven't talked about it, Vlad. But the audio recording of Tyreek Hill's mother-in-law calling 911 during an argument between Hill and his wife, Keita, earlier this week has been released. Alicia Vaccaro says she's scared and hiding in a room as her daughter and Hill argue. At one point, apparently, Tyreek picked up his daughter. Both parties are not pressing charges, and the Dolphins are considering it a closed case. A lot to dive into that. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. It's a very just kind of uneasy. I as I hear and as I read and as I feel and as I see, I
don't want to
uncomfortable.
We're gonna get into it, but I don't want to get into it in the form of like what happened in that.
No.
It's about
How the Dolphins are approaching it and how people have the.
But I said this last year, bro.
Yeah,
I said this last year. What did I say last year, bro?
When's it going to get to a point when both Tyreek Hill and Jimmy Butler are too much to put up with?
That was what the question I asked, and there was a lot of people that said, "Oh, Vlad, no, stop hating, no." And what ended up happening? I'm like, you talk about two men who want their money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around this time, Tyreek wanted his money,
gave it to him,
and they gave it to him, and I was like, "Eh. All right, you made your bed, now you gotta lay in it," and everything since when was the first game of the season? September what? Was it September 10th or something like that?
Something like that. 4th, 10th, something around there.
Something like around there, September 10th, whatever. Since the first game of the season.
It has been a bad year for Tyreek Hill.
It's been a bad
on and
5,
off the
6
field.
months.
It's been a bad year for Tyreek Hill.
And not even yet. No, you're right. It's been a bad year. If we're going back to the whole incident with at the harbor.
Oh yeah, where he slapped the guy in the back of the head and
Right.
it cost him about $500,000, something like that. Yeah.
And then what else? And then what?
He gets arrested before the game.
And then what?
Then he
the
has a bad season.
The lawsuit with playing the tackle.
Yeah, with the plus size model, the lawsuit, the
Sturdy,
whole getting arrested before the first game, the bad season statistically he put up, the walking off the field, leaving the team at the last game of the season against the Jets, and now he and his old lady have gotten into some type of altercation.
And that's
he's
something
now
that's
supposedly getting a divorce.
And that's always been happening since the minute they got married.
I know, it was before even that.
Was it like 4 days? 4 days after they got married, there was a filing for the divorce.
We'll get into all that.
Like,
but
come on, man. It's getting to the point. It's getting to the point. This regime, this is it. If they don't win this year, this regime is going to change. Front office, head coaching, and players. They're going to have to do a reset.
And another thing is, too, and we're kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen on this show, Pat Riley and the Heat did not placate Jimmy Butler. Well, when I say placate, give him the money that he wanted, did not give him everything that he wanted, although he got a lot. On the other hand, a team like the Los Angeles Lakers gave LeBron James everything he wanted, and it seems to have paid off. And we're going to talk about that later in the show because LeBron James is doing some things that makes even the biggest hater of him start to say, wow. We're going to get to that in just a little while. Kader Kuhu has signed with the Dolphins for a $3.3 million contract. So Kader Kuhu will come back. I guess we're happy to have him back. Canes spring game, 4:00 today. It's the second year that it's going to be held on campus in Coral Gables. Like I said, Carson Beck will not throw today, but he will begin throwing Monday, says Mario Cristobal. Columbus High boys basketball coach Andrew Morin has become the assistant coach and director of player development for the Miami Hurricanes basketball team. He recently won a national championship at Columbus High. So that's been long rumored. He's made the rounds and he's in. Canes baseball team got blown up by Duke 13-3 yesterday. They played today at 6. It has been a tough season for the baseball team. Thought maybe they had some good momentum. They've been 7-inning, 10-run ruling teams. Not so much. The Heat, they wallop the Pelicans 153-104. Miami is locked into the 10 spot. In the East, they face the Wizards to close the season tomorrow at 1. Then Wednesday, they're going to take on the Bulls in a do-or-die game. Were there any takeaways from last night's game other than the Heat did what they had to do and the Pelicans are absolutely garbage?
Yeah, you just said everything right there.
I mean,
there was nothing to take away from that game. Come on, man.
The Pelicans rolled out some garbage, dude. Vlad, at one point I thought you were playing. Were you playing last night for the Pelicans a little bit?
That's messed up, bro. That's messed up.
I can't defend that team right now. The Marlins, they couldn't hold on to a 4-2 lead. They were up 4-2 most of the game, but no.
Weren't they up like 4-0?
Yeah, but now then it was 4-2 going into the 7th, and then
right.
fell to the Nationals 7-4. Today's game, 4 o'clock, Venezuelan Heritage Day. Sandy Alcantara on the mound, and then Chino Inacho afterwards. That's going to be a big day. Hopefully the Marlins show out and Sandy Alcantara pitch as well. Tomorrow at 1:40, it's Bark at the Park. So bring your pooch and enjoy a little bit of baseball. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami are said to be closing in on a contract extension. The Herons, they face Chicago Sunday at 4:30. They will also face Vancouver in the semifinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Wow, Inter Miami really has it going. Interesting story. The past 2 years, when Inter Miami have played at Chicago, Messi has sat and not played. He is supposedly going to play today. Chicago is at a fever pitch, wanting to finally see Messi play. We'll see what happens. Usually when it's rumored that Messi will play, Messi does play, but never know. Panthers blasted the Red Wings 4-1 the other day. They host the Buffalo Sabres today at 6. Masters continued through the weekend. Justin Rose, Bryson DeChambeau, and Rory McIlroy playing very high atop the leaderboard.
Man, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good moving day, third round and final round tomorrow for the Masters.
And last but not least, New Mexico guard True Washington has transferred to play for Jay Lucas at the U. He averaged 11 points a game last season. I can already tell you he's never even probably stepped foot on the campus of Miami. He's already my favorite player on the basketball team.
Jesus, really?
His name is True Washington.
Wow, because his name is True?
I like the names. He's TRU. It's TRU too, like Master P used to do. It's true to the game.
Oh, that's why. I get it.
But just imagine his name's True. True Washington. The truth is out there, man.
The truth will set you free.
Now, if we can get Jansen Junk called up from Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp AAA team for the Marlins, then we got Jansen Junk on the mound. We got TRU, the truth for True Washington playing for the U. Oh, man, so much good stuff. Speaking of good stuff, let's real quick take a step into the day spa. Did you see this, Vlad? Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and his family were attacked by an ostrich at a wildlife park.
Chicken heads be clucking.
I'm not big into wildlife parks, man.
I don't know why you. Well,
the ones that you drive through. Now, if you go on
I'm not doing that because they don't like motion. So therefore, you're in their land.
Yeah, and plus you're just in your car. Like, I don't know. Like, and then if I go out,
and
like,
I bet you ever see like when those animals just sneak up on those patrons in their cars?
They rip up those cars, man, because they want food.
Yeah, bro.
I'm not about that. So Boris Johnson, bad choice by you, but maybe this was politically charged. Boris Johnson, part of the Conservative Party. Maybe the ostrich was part of the Labor Party over there in Great Britain.
Or maybe he was animal cruelty, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, maybe that ostrich was making a statement without saying a word. We're going to dive into this Tyreek Hill situation. Not so much the minutia and the details, but just kind of what it means for the Dolphins and what it kind of means for this team going forward. That is next here on 560 WQAM. So more nastiness off the field for Tyreek Hill. It just seems like he can't go a few months without having some trouble. I'm Cousin Vladimir Louison. I am Dan Day. Going to dive into it real quick. Let's go through a quick synopsis of what's been at least reported. So Tyreek Hill and his wife, Kita Vaquero, they do get married. Very soon after the marriage, there's been some calls that there's domestic, not maybe violence, but domestic disputes, which, okay, that happens. His house gets burned down. That's an accident by one of his kids. Still a lot of craziness going on. Tyreek Hill and Kita seem to have somewhat of a volatile relationship. Police are called at one point to the house. He allegedly smushed a unlit cigar in her face. They were yelling, they were screaming, they were fighting. That happened. Papers were filed for divorce. Tyreek Hill says that was wrong. Now, correct me, Vlad, if any of this, if I'm missing anything or leaving anything out. Tyreek Hill says that was somebody's mistake. Someone's going to get fired. They accidentally filed the divorce papers. Yeah, like that's a little weird, but we're going to say, okay, cool. Apparently, Tyreek Hill has fathered numerous children with other women inside the confines of his marriage. And when I say numerous, I'm not talking about one or two. I'm talking about 3 or 4. Nonetheless, he and Kita do have a daughter together. Tyreek Hill has the plus-size model that he tackled in the backyard, injured her, and for some reason, he took her upstairs to help her with her injury, and they ended up getting it on. This is all inside the confines of marriage.
Sacked her in the bed.
Yeah. So, yeah, he sacked her in the backyard and in the bed, whatever. So, the most recent incident, apparently there was an altercation between he and Kita Vaquero, his wife, and about him not being available enough and not being involved enough in their daughter's life. Apparently, it got pretty loud, and just so happens that his mother-in-law was there. She called the police because she was scared for not only her own life, her daughter's life, but especially her granddaughter's life, because at some point there's mention of Tyreek Hill picking up the daughter. Now, there was no mention of anything wrong, nonetheless. So the police come, and cooler heads prevail, and they say, we're not pressing charges, neither of us. It's just it's a domestic dispute. And Kita says she's filing for divorce. So Tyreek Hill now apparently is filing for divorce a second time, or someone's filing for divorce a second time. Miami Dolphins, I think, have actually done the right thing here, Vlad. And you could say a lot of things about the Dolphins. The Dolphins are approaching this, at least for right now, as this is a personal matter. This is a private matter. This does not have anything, quote unquote, legally to do with us. Now, I understand that. I think the Dolphins are doing the right thing, number one, by saying we're going to stay out of this because this is a private issue, but it doesn't help anything out. And with all that going on, I think if you're the Dolphins, you have to go to Tyreek Hill and say, you cannot be a captain of this team this year. You have enough going on in your life. You need to, we're going to help you as much as we can, get your life in order as much as we possibly can, but you can't be a captain of this team. After walking out on the team last year and all the personal stuff off the field, you need to focus on that. The rest, there's other talk about possibly being traded. Do you think there is any fire to that smoke that Tyreek Hill possibly could be getting traded because of the actions on and off the field?
Yeah. I think, well, you know what? Hold on. Let me say this. I think they would, but they won't because of the fact that this is the first year of his contract extension.
Right.
So I remember reading Omar's article saying that Tyreek will be here in 2025.
I think
if
so,
they
too.
had a chance, though, if somebody was willing to be, if somebody was, I don't want to say stupid enough,
right?
But if somebody was desperate enough that they wanted to take the full contract,
yeah,
that's
hard.
Tyreek, yeah. But I think after this season, unless he really gets back to year one, Tyreek, I think it's just his days are numbered here in South Florida with the Dolphins because it's just the talent. It's getting to the point right now. The transgressions is not worth the talent.
Right. That's the thing. When you're producing 1,700, 1,800 yards a season, you can kind of say, he has his demons.
The first 2 years because you haven't seen anything like this. And then listen, everybody loved Tyreek because he was the first player of notoriety, of status that was shouting out Tua. And as everybody was playing, when he was like, oh, Tua, throws better than Patrick, or he's more accurate than Patrick, and all of that. And it was just like, how are you saying that? And then you see what the numbers they put up together. Yeah, he was the best player. You know, the league, the players in the league gave him the number one spot over a year ago as the number one player in the league. So yeah, and you guys, you know, this market, this city, they love flash, they love speed. They love when, you know, they're the it thing and everybody wants to see them, and they're must-see TV, Sports Center top 10 on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays. So, yeah. But you also know he has a history of making questionable decisions that can lead to unfortunate consequences, and boom, it happened.
He seems to be spiraling out of control, too, and
But
it's starting to affect his game a little bit.
But that's the problem. It's not like he's the type of person, unfortunately. I mean, it's not like, okay, one bad thing happens, he gets scolded or he gets caught or whatever, and then it stops. Then it's like one bad thing happens, then another bad thing happens, and it starts to snowball. So just over the last 6 months, you mentioned this stuff, but think about it, like from the beginning of the football season, the incident right at the stadium, right? And we all gave him a pass on that because we know cops are kind of shady, no fun, you know,
right?
And they're aggressive. And we also saw that the other Dolphin players who saw that, and one was former defensive tackle Calais Campbell and Jonnu Smith, who have been nothing but just
pillars of the community.
Great, pillars of the community, just great players, just guys who don't have a track record of being in trouble. So when they also saw what happened, they saw what happened to their teammate, and they spoke on it. It was like, oh man, that was unfortunate to Tyreek, right? We know this happens, right? Cool. Tua gets hurt, season's bad, he's not putting up the numbers. We can just lead to, he has an injury he's been playing with. We can let that go. But end of the season, last game, when you don't want to play with your team anymore, and it's heard on TV, and then the post-game reaction, and then the trolling on Twitter, and then the apology, the apology during the Super Bowl week, and then trolling again on Twitter, and then now this, it's getting to the point where it's not worth. The risk is not worth the reward, bro.
Which, this is something I've been thinking about all week with all the trials and tribulations of Tyreek Hill. Did it get to a point that Kansas City Chiefs at some point got to it and looked at it?
They saw it and they realized, they were like, you know what? We maximized what we needed out of it, and look, let's just trade him. And look what happened. That trade of Tyreek got them McDuffie, who's one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and they got them to 3 Super Bowls, and they won 2 of them.
Yeah, 2 of the 3. Did they not see maybe the writing on the wall, and they say he's a super talent? We're going to have to pay him a lot of money, and eventually the money and the talent isn't going to match up to maybe the headaches that we're possibly going to have, and let's just get ahead of this like a good organization would, and let's get as much as we can for him and let someone else deal with them. Kind of wonder.
And he's 30.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He's aging, and his numbers have gone down, and he's got a huge contract.
1 year that the numbers went down.
Numbers have gone down, though.
1 year. And I'm going to say.
Yeah, but okay, so if I'm a GM on another team, like, well, I mean.
No, because I'm not going to. Listen, I know how the league, we know how the league is.
But,
so it's 1 year. This is the first year that he actually didn't produce the numbers that we expect from Cheetah. So does he rebound with the talent and the desire, or is this, like we said, the beginning of a decline?
I'm afraid that some of the off the field stuff is starting to bleed on the field, and therefore you're seeing a very unstable human being off the field, definitely, and maybe that's why you saw some of the drop off this year on the field. I don't know. I feel as though he's going to be with the Dolphins this year, and I feel as though he's going to be productive. But man, there is a lot to unpack right there, and there is a lot going on. And he has proven, Vlad, what do we say? Like, Cheetah don't change its prints. Like, it just every couple of months, it's something.
And it's going to continue to be. And
that's what I'm saying.
And you're talking about a guy who's going to be 30. He's in his 30s, and in another year after this, after the 26th season, correct? He's going to look at it as, you know what? I'm 31, 32. I'm a 32. if I'm still putting up good numbers, say he's getting like these next 2 years, he's put up 1,300, 1,500
14,
yards.
yeah, 15.
He's gonna want another big deal again, and he's gonna do things, and then you might get a Jimmy Butler type of situation. Like these are the type of things you deal with superstar players who have a history of showing that when they don't like things, they act up.
People can change, and I do believe in that, but I don't know. I mean, am I naive to be the super fan that says, man, this is the wake up call. He's going to get straightened up off the field, on the field. He's always been dedicated on the field. We know that he did show up late for practice a lot and stuff like that.
And that's the thing.
But he's a great teammate.
And remember, those things were and this probably didn't just happen season 3 in his tenure. This happened since the first year. But you know what? When you're putting up 1,800 yards, when you're trying to break the Calvin Johnson record for most yards in the NFL season, that's going to be swept away when the team is going to the playoffs.
How long did we know about Jimmy Butler's situation where he traveled by himself, he stayed by himself, he got extra tickets, he got preferential treatment? Nothing was said about that because he was producing. This year, he caused a stink. Oh, yeah.
Well, not this year. Last year and this year.
Last year, we let it slide. This year, no more sliding.
So if this is what I think, the Dolphins, Chris Greer and everybody should see what happened with their patrons, with their cohorts in Miami and not allow the situation to get like this. But you messed up already because you're stuck now. You're stuck with him because you gave him the contract extension. Yeah. And what did I say? What did we
said before?
If there was a year they could mess up, it was last year. But unfortunately, 2025 is going to really be a nasty year for them. Nasty work. And everybody, because everybody got their extension.
Right.
Waddle.
That credit card is maxed out.
McDaniel.
Tua.
Tyreek.
Jalen
Ramsey, who's going into his 10th season in the league.
What I'm saying is this, too. You didn't set the precedent. So now what do? You sit Tyreek down. We need to get some things clear right now. You need to show up on time for practice. You need to act right off the field. You get no special treatment. And you know what he's going to do? Exactly what Jimmy Butler did. Shut up.
And the fact of the matter is, if he starts acting up and you want to trade him, you're not going to get the value that you think because everybody's going to know you got to get rid of him.
Because like I said, as a good GM would do, you sell the low points because you want to buy low. He had a bad season last year. He's getting older. He has off-field issues. He's coming off a wrist surgery. Why should I give you top dollar for him? You're trying to unload him. You're desperate to sell. I'm not desperate to buy. Now, I'm not saying that all that's true, but I'm saying as a good GM, that's the way you're approaching Chris Greer. And, Chris Greer never know what he's going to get out of it. But, yeah, it's a tough situation. I think the Dolphins right now, it's just kind of a wait and see. Let's get as much help as we can for you right now. If an unbelievable deal does come across, I hate to say it, you probably have to, you have to go take the deal. But I just don't see an unbelievable deal coming right now with that huge contract, with the age, with the baggage. But it's getting to a point, Vlad, where the baggage is outweighing the stats. If it's not already gotten to that point.
It's bad, bro.
And we all get into fights into our relationships, and it all gets. And when I say it turns nasty, it's arguments. I don't know how the argument really went. I heard the phone call; it didn't sound nice. But when do arguments between couples ever sound nice? They don't.
Nah, when Mom Duke says, seems scared, it's not good.
No, it's not good. Not good. Okay, well, we got that nastiness behind us. Hopefully, everyone gets the help they need. Everyone takes care of their business. Like I said, I'm worried not just about the Miami Dolphins. I do worry about Tyreek Hill and their kid and Keita Vaccaro. I want everyone to be happy. So hopefully everyone ends up happy. Everyone gets the help they need and everybody gets back on the right track. We're going to be hoping that all that happens. We can talk about something good next. Vlad, I'm willing to start hearing arguments. I'm willing to start hearing arguments about the greatest basketball player of all time. We'll discuss that next here on 560 WQAM.
Miami teams and more can be heard on the free Odyssey app. Don't miss out. Download it today and make WQAM your favorite station.
I am neither a Lakers lover nor am I a Lakers hater. I am neither a LeBron James lover nor am I a LeBron James hater. But this Lakers team in this edition of LeBron James has been pretty good. The haters would say, JJ Reddick, go back to doing your podcast. The Heat beat them by 40 earlier this year, Vlad. One person in this building even told me that's the lousiest Lakers team I've ever seen. I go, you must not watch a lot of Lakers because I've seen some lousy teams. Lo and behold, though, they make the trade for Luka, and this team is now going to finish third in the West. They have a LeBron James who's playing at an unbelievable clip, which we will get to in just a minute. They have a Luka Doncic who is in the prime of his career, and last year led who I would consider probably a lesser team to the Western Conference Finals and to the NBA championship. It came a couple games away from winning it. They have a true number 3. Sorry, Andrew Wiggins, I'm not taking a shot, although I just did. A true number 3 in Austin Reeves, who's really actually a really underrated player who could, at nights, we've talked about this, Vlad, if you need him, he can step up and be the number 1 on your team for a night. I'm not saying every night, but for nights. He does some pretty amazing things. You've got Rui Hachimura, who's a great player. You got Vanderbilt, who's a great defender. You got a very solid team. But whoa, what LeBron James has done this year is a marvel. Get these stats, Vlad. His stats this year, how they compare to his 2012-2013 MVP stats. This is the year he won the MVP. First of all, 25.7 points this year. At 40 years old, he's 40.
Really? 25.7?
25.7. You know how much he averaged in his MVP season?
25.6?
26.8.
Oh, all right.
Remember, he's 40.
All right. Yeah, that was what? 2012? What's that?
2012, 2013.
12 years ago?
This year, averaging
13?
17.3 rebounds. You know how much he averaged in that MVP season?
How much he averaged this year?
He has 7.3 this year. In the MVP season, 7.5.
All right.
Assists. This year, 8.3. And we know now he's more of a facilitator than a scorer.
7.9?
7.4.
Oh, okay.
So he actually has more assists per game this year than he did in that MVP season.
Game, but yeah.
His stats at 40 years old are right up there with his stats in 2012, 2013.
Well, I mean, this is, I don't want to sound, like a hater, but he's been doing that for the last 22 years. So
and that's what I'm saying.
So, I mean, it's just consistency. So
I'm willing to say this. If before you would have told me this season, let's just even say this season, before this season you would have told me LeBron James is the greatest player of all time, I would say bosh, foolishness, silliness.
Wait, I thought you said Chris Bosh when you said Bosh.
No, I just said bosh. If you know, bosh just means foolishness, silly talk.
Down here, Bosh might mean.
I know. Yeah. But I would just say foolishness. It's Michael Jordan. Don't question it. But now I'm willing to say this. With those numbers, at age 40, remember, numbers that are very comparable to the year he was the MVP in 2012, 2013.
There's no GOAT, bro.
Leading a team. I'm saying this, though. Listen, hear me out. A Lakers team who, let's look at it real quick. Now, you're probably saying the third seed.
No, everything you're saying is right. Look, this Laker team, they went up and down first couple of months. Then they started playing really well. They went on like an 8-game winning streak towards the end of January and February, right before they made the big trade, because that was a funny thing. They started playing real well, and people didn't still believe that they were a threat. So we knew they were going to make a move during the trading deadline. Nobody knew that the move would be Luka for AD. And though everybody started doubting, they don't have height, they don't have size, they're going to get, what's going to happen. Their defense in the beginning, after the acquisition of Luka, was actually good. And they've been playing good defense for a good, I want to say 2 months. Then LeBron got hurt. Defense went bad, took a little bit. They lost a couple of games they shouldn't. Maybe that Bulls games when Josh Giddey
hit
three.
that buzzer beater.
Right. And then there was another game. I think that was the same game, but they should have won that game. A couple of games they played bad. But look, at 40 years old in the year 22, he's probably giving you a complete season because he was also playing very well on the defensive end as this year. So
well, he's very durable. He's the leader of this team. Here's what I wanted to say now. With all that being said, with the stats being somewhat similar, unbelievably, to his MVP season, with the team that he has right now, Luka, like I said, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, all those guys, JJ Redick coaching seems to be pushing enough of the right buttons. They're the 3rd seed in the West. If they can make a magical run, and we know LeBron James can make those runs in spurts in the playoffs, focusing. He's got the experience. We know Luka can get to an NBA Finals. We know they got a lot of pieces. And look who the road is tough. Don't get me wrong. The Thunder, unbelievable team. But a lot of people say still the jury's out on them. They don't have a lot of playoff experience. They're young. We'll see. The Rockets, the Lakers killed them last night. The Rockets,
they ain't playing their guys.
The Rockets still very young,
They didn't play
inexperienced. The Nuggets fired their coach with 5 games left in the regular season. Michael Malone got fired. They're a huge question mark. Can they make a run with an interim coach? The Clippers, once again, are playing
good,
unbelievable. Man. By the way, and if you want to say stuff about the Clippers and about Kawhi Leonard, you can, but they're playing great. But then again, I always say the Clippers are going to be the Clippers in the playoffs. The Warriors, do they have enough in the tank? Timberwolves, we'll see. This is a Lakers team that, let's just say they make a great run. And let's just say, for some reason,
so
they win
the title?
They win the title.
Okay,
I'm willing to respectfully and openly hear talk and arguments that LeBron James is the greatest player of all time.
You sound like Stephen A. Smith.
Listen to this. 5 NBA championships.
I get it.
Over a long period of time and a lot of NBA finals. Jordan had 6.
3 different decades. I get it.
The numbers at 40 that he is putting up, winning a championship at 40, what he has done for this league,
Dan,
what he has done with his teams.
I don't think there's listen.
I'm willing to hear the argument. I'm saying that.
I don't think you have. I don't think anybody is wrong if they want to make a case for LeBron. Obviously, I grew up in the Jordan era, and it all depends on how you look at things.
Oh, by the way, he's also the all-time leading scorer in the NBA's history.
Listen, I, for one, love consistency. And if you've been the top for over 20 years, that means a lot. Now, some people may say, oh, you're just staying in the game. But if you're staying too long, but bro, if you've been dominant.
He's as good as anybody now.
Right, but if you've been dominant consistently and you can remain dominant, why wouldn't you? Same thing with Brady when he was playing.
I hope he plays another 5 years.
Now, what the Jordan era was dominance. And here's how I look at it, bro. Your greatest athlete represents the era, the timing of that, LeBron is this era, this current generation's greatest athlete. You know what I'm saying? Jordan was that. Jordan was the 90s. The 90s was about cutthroat, dominance, and showing off, bro. And that was the 90s. And people loved that. It resonated with people with that. The country was doing great. You were winning. Dominance. The Cowboys was the team in the football. The Yankees, it was about you were a dynasty. Dynasties was cool back then. All right, kill, wipe out any team. You got to do everything. Look what the Niners did. The Niners were getting beat by the Cowboys so much that they had to go outside their parameters. They had to bring in Dion. They had to get they had a culture, but they had to face the Cowboys. Same thing with the Bulls. Bulls were so dominant. The Knicks tried to get gritty and grimy with them because that's how Detroit beat them. Indiana did that. And Jordan won. Dominance, bro. So when you're growing up, it was Jordan, hip-hop, all of that. That's why it resonated with people. That's why people really think Mike's the greatest. And I also, I mean, I'm keeping it a buck. A lot of people think Mike's daddy to them because, they didn't have daddy. So Mike was daddy. Sometimes our dream, like Mike was a lot of people's daddies. That's what it is. But LeBron's been the most consistent, best player I've seen ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
40. He's still one of the top 5 players in the league. Further evidence. Very easy. I'll let you guess. You don't even have to guess. Who leads the league in triple doubles this year?
Oh, Jokic.
Yes. Number 2, LeBron James. He is the second leading triple double scorer this season behind Jokic, who is having possibly the MVP season.
No,
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the other guy in the argument.
No, I mean, he's not the other guy in the argument. He is the argument.
Dude.
Listen,
if you hate LeBron James, hate LeBron James for whatever reason.
Bron is Bron.
But you cannot deny the fact of what he is doing and what he has done. And oh yeah, by the way, if you're a Heat fan, Heat culture fan, he did a lot for your organization. I'm sorry. You would not be where you're at today if it weren't for LeBron James.
You think Toronto will retire LeBron James' number?
No. We're the only stupid organization that retires people that don't have that didn't play for us as number.
Now,
take that banner down as another stupid thing.
If Bron didn't side with Kendrick in the beef with Drake, you think if he sided with Drake in that beef, you think Drake would allow a LeBron jersey to be retired at Air Canada
How
Center?
How is this even relevant to anything?
Because they were talking about yesterday was the anniversary when the Jordan jersey got retired at was it the Miami Arena?
Yeah.
Right. And it was just like, would teams actually ever retire an opposing player's number?
I mean, they'll do it for like Bill Russell.
Well, I mean, not because of as good of a person. I'm talking about because the person just destroyed you and annihilated you and just broke your heart and just killed your dreams.
No.
Why did you guys do that?
I just take that banner down. And when they asked to say it was time for it to come down, just take it down. It's an embarrassment whenever I see it. And we've tried to kind of fade it out. It used to be Jordan 23. Now it's just 23 now. Nonetheless, what LeBron James is doing, that at 40, he's the second leading double-double getter in the league behind Nikola Jokic. And his numbers at 40 are similar to his numbers in 2012, 2013, much less that year he won the MVP. He's leading a team. Also, he's got some help. Once again, we've mentioned that, to a 3rd seed in the West. And who knows what this playoff run. Like I said,
nobody expected him to win 50 games.
No.
You're lying. Anybody that says that is lying. And here's the other thing. This is what
you also didn't expect to get Luka Doncic.
Well, that's also true. But here's the other thing. It doesn't really matter who coaches him. Now, his best coach ever was probably Spo, followed by Ty Lue. But it doesn't matter. Mike Brown, Paul Silas. Who was that coach they got from Israel?
Dude. Yeah, the Russian dude, I thought.
I forgot his name. What's his name? Bum. I call him Bum. Ty Lue, Luke Walton.
I'm amazed.
Frank Vogel, Darvin Ham.
He won a championship.
He won a championship with Frank Vogel. It doesn't matter. Now it's JJ Redick, his podcaster buddy.
25.7 points this year as opposed to his MVP year, 26.8. 7.3 rebounds this year as opposed to 7.5 his MVP year. 8.3 assists per game this year as opposed to 7.4 assists per game in 2012.
David Blatt. Yes, that was his name. David Blatt, the coach.
I'll say this. I'm still Michael Jordan, and maybe I'm just a slave to the era that I grew up in.
Yeah,
and
we
Michael
all
Jordan,
are.
And if Michael Jordan was at full strength, the Bulls were going to win the championship. But if LeBron wins a championship this year, and it would be great, and the NBA would love it against the Celtics, especially, holy goodness, I'm willing to hear the argument.
Like I say,
am willing to hear that argument.
If you were between the ages of 12 to 20, I'll say 22 in the 90s, you're going to be a Jordan fan forever. Like, that's when you grew up. That's when you started, finding other interests, depending what you type. I mean, I love women. So, I was, finding out about girls, music, going out, what outside my block.
Taking a walk down Vlad memory lane now?
Yeah. Outside the block. You know what I'm saying? outside of, you go into high school.
Opened up a wound.
No, that's what I'm just. No, it's not even that. It's not opening up a wound. It's just like that's when people always make the argument about who's the GOAT, but between Jordan and Bron, it's not even about that. It's about it's you're not you can't knock what the other one did. The numbers, like you stated, it shows that, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The fact of the matter is, it's what your preference is, what resonated with you, because you're seeing it. Like, I'm older and I'm seeing what this man is doing, and I can't be like, oh, I'm not appreciative of what he's doing, because I have better knowledge of sports than I did when I was watching Mike. You understand?
If Khalil Ware came in and averaged 26, 7, and 8 this year, you'd say unbelievable. If you were 40 years old doing that, holy crap.
Yeah. So it's just about what resonates with you.
I know,
man.
and there's some people that say, you know what? It's all about numbers. When I say all about numbers, like, well, what records does Jordan hold? None, really. When I say none, he doesn't hold the all-time scoring record. He doesn't hold the most championships. Okay, is it about championships? And it's Bill Russell. If it's about points, then it's LeBron James.
And then look,
if it's about longevity, it's about LeBron James.
And
but if it's about willpower and changing the game,
it's what resonates with you.
Right.
Like right now, Platinum Storms is cracking jokes because he's like, and it's funny, Jordan wouldn't cry over cookies. That's cool. But Jordan also didn't. Let me tell you this. This is why, if I ever make the argument why I think LeBron is better than Mike, it's only for this reason. It's not about on the court. You can make an argument for either one on the court.
Yeah, it's subjective. It's objective.
It's because off the court. Let me tell you this, my guy. In 1992, no, was it 92? No, 93. In 1993, when the Bulls and the Knicks played in the Eastern Conference Finals, which was the most hyped, anticipated Eastern Conference Finals at that time, because the Knicks were the number 1 seed. They took the Bulls to 7 games the year before in the Eastern Conference semis. And Mike went to Atlantic City and they lost the first 2 games and all of it. If that happened
John Starks
in 2020s, in the 2020s, it would have been crazy.
The internet would have exploded.
Okay, and that was only the New York tabloids, which were, at that time was like what Twitter is. You know what I'm saying? Like the New York tabloids were big, so that was only New York tabloids. Mike would not be able to handle, to me, the onslaught of everyday coverage LeBron, by the way, goes through night in and night out.
LeBron James has been doing this since he was 17 years old, having to shoulder the basketball world, and he's responded every single turn. I'm not saying who's the greatest of all time. That's up to you. I'm saying what Michael Jordan did, amazing. What LeBron James is doing is possibly equally as amazing. We'll leave it at that. Coming back next, going to get you caught up before this Hurricane spring game. Pre-game starts at 3, 560 WQAM.
Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers, 3-time NBA champion Miami Heat, 5-time national championship winner Miami Hurricanes football, and Miami Hurricanes basketball.
Powered by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.
Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Lord of mercy. Hey, Lord of his mercy. Lord of mercy. Driver.
April 12th, 2025. Important day for me. Big Lynn's birthday is today. So Big Lynn, if you had Zelle, or you even knew what Zelle was, or what else is there, Venmo, I'd send you a little money, but instead I'm going to have to call some type of restaurant and buy you a gift card. But that's okay. Happy birthday, Big Lynn. I'll call you later, I promise. I know she's watching right now.
Happy birthday to Big Lynn, and happy birthday to my cousin Roseanne.
Oh, we got extra birthday party.
Yeah, it was a lot of birthdays this week.
It's that time of the year, yeah.
Yeah. Happy born day to my sister and my mom. Rest in peace.
Wow.
Yeah, they're both born April 8th.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, are both of our mothers born on the same date?
No, it was 4 days apart, bro.
Oh, that's
really
crazy.
4 days apart. Like literally April, Aries season. All the women that I love in my life, family, like born around in this month.
Yeah, April's a great month.
Yeah.
Great month right there.
Shout out to everybody.
Everyone, all the April birthdays. RVA Richie, thank you so much for sending Big Lynn a happy birthday, and everyone happy birthday that is celebrating this month of April. Of course, 1 week from tomorrow is going to be Easter, and it's
420.
It's also 420. So be sure to enjoy that day. A lot of people getting in on this 305-567-0560. Michael Jordan, greatest of all time talk. I will say this about Michael Jordan. This is it's not even a memory of Michael Jordan. There was a time when Michael Jordan was so huge in this world. For those that don't know, and we do have some people texting in and jumping in, YouTube, Twitch, 560 WQAM, saying I was like 2 years old when Michael Jordan played. I don't know about all this. There was a time Michael Jordan was so big that on the day his new shoe would be released, my high school was a ghost town. Kids did not show up to school because they wanted to wait in line and get a pair of Jordans.
And get robbed.
Yeah. It was like me and like 7 other kids in my class. And it was empty.
It was easy purge season around that
time.
It
was empty because kids didn't go to school that day. They stood in line outside of a Foot Locker or wherever you buy Jordans.
Outlet malls.
Waited in line, and they take one person or 2 people at a time.
It still happened.
Does it happen anymore?
Might not happen now, but it was still happening. It probably just ended not too long ago. Maybe 5-10 years ago. But yeah, bro. Because of the
you go out to the Foot Locker on a leisure
because you gotta understand this is all right. So this is the greatness. This is where, like I said, when you're really talking about the GOAT, all right, when you're making a case for either one about the GOAT argument, it's not really about what's on the court. People say, you know,
it is more than just the court.
It's really everything outside, rumors. You know, like people go. This is what's weird, right? You know, this is what's weird. Before I get into this,
I'm reading comments. Go ahead, please.
Grown men talking about how fearful they were about one man. That's what makes that person better. Like they're grown men. Like you gotta understand, NBA vets, retired players, they're the biggest haters in the world. So the fact that they still they're 50, 60 years old, they still in fear of that man. When they flashbacks, when they reminisce about the time playing that man, it's crazy. But I also live now where I get everything newsworthy, sportsworthy at my disposal within seconds. I seen what that man did to a city. He changed the city's name. They call it LeBronto. Do you understand that? He changed the city's name. They call it LeBronto. On the air, they said that. I've seen that man do things. So when you're making the arguments, you can make a case for either on the court. It's off the court. Mike hasn't played a game in nearly, 25, 30 years?
And everybody knows who he is.
And his sneaker is still the most popular sneaker in the world.
No, I don't think you can ever have for a fact who's the greatest player of anything, anytime, any sport. You can make arguments on and off the court. And like when Jordan first started in the NBA on NBC You got the game of the week. By the time he retired, they had triple headers every single Sunday. That's how popular the game had become because of Michael Jordan. And you guaranteed you were getting a Bulls game every Sunday.
Well, I mean, funny you mention this because they're coming back, I believe, next season. The NBC, yeah, they knew what they were doing. Stern knew what was going. That's one thing I got to give credit to. I like Adam Silver. Adam Silver is definitely 21st century, but I kind of miss the old Dave, that little short guy, man. He was, listen, he laid the smackdown, and you weren't going to go against David Stern. He let you know who was boss hoss, and he ran the court. It was no players. No. It wasn't a players league. That was David Stern's league.
It's interesting. Now that you think about it, these guys have all helped each other and built on each other. It's like passing a baton in a relay race.
Yeah, don't get hit in the head.
Bird
like the high school.
Bird and Johnson helped elevate the sport from being just on like tape delay. They made the rivalry.
Yeah,
they made it great
back then, bro.
But they made the league grow.
Yeah.
Then Magic Johnson got the whole AIDS issue. Larry Bird had his back hurt.
It wasn't the whole AIDS issue. The man had HIV. HIV.
Oh, sorry, HIV. But then that was kind of a black eye for the league. But then Michael Jordan comes along. It wasn't
really a black eye. They still had Mike.
But that's what I'm saying. Michael Jordan comes along.
Mike was there. Mike was ready to take the perch.
I'm saying it's like a relay.
It's all you listen. That's why the whole face of the league. It's basically like you said. Like you're breaking it down. It is a passing of the guard.
It is. It's a building on the past.
But there was a time right after Mike.
There was a little.
They were trying to force it. No, but they were trying to force it.
Right.
And then the face of the league was not what endorsers and marketers and corporations would want to be the face of the league when AI was there, because AI was pure hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
He had his histories
to the point that David Stern changed the wardrobe.
Code. Yeah, dress code, because he was wearing all types of quote unquote urban gear. But it's who you think is the greatest. And people are weighing in right now. 305-567-0560. 954 says, Dan, the player with the greatest numbers does not equate to the greatest player. Is Jack Nicklaus the greatest golfer of all time, or is it Tiger Woods? I would go Tiger Woods every day and twice on Sunday.
You can make that argument, but people can make the argument with Jack Nicklaus, because then who's the guy that won the majors, and who's the guy that has the second most runner-ups, which means not only do you win, but you've lost because you know what I'm saying? Like you're there. Yeah,
if you're strictly a numbers person, then it's cut and dry who's the greatest of all time. I'm just saying.
Right, it's Jack.
Yeah, it's Jack. But if you're saying, hold up now.
But if you're talking about dominance and everything like that, that's a great argument. When you want to make that GOAT comparisons, Jack is LeBron and Tiger is Jordan.
Yes.
That Tiger era was dominant, which was just like the Jordan era. But if you love the sport and you love the game of golf, just like LeBron, 10 finals in 22 years. That's basically every other year that man's been in the NBA final. There was a run of 8 years in a row.
He hadn't always had the greatest teams.
Not having the greatest teams, but finishing runner-up. So damn, it's like, okay, it is what it is. Like, yeah, you've won, you've lost. Nobody perfect, baby. Ain't no Rocky Marciano up in this.
No. 786 texts in. Now, I'm not taking anything away from what LeBron has done, but Jordan doesn't flop and doesn't make excuses. Everyone feared Jordan. People just respect LeBron James.
That's what I'm saying. So you see, it's never about what's in the court. It's about what you think or what we're hearing. But that's what the media, and also the media now is not afraid. Media now was so thankful to be around these athletes. So they're not going to say anything bad or disparaging about those athletes. But you could say something bad about an athlete now, because you know what? You're going to get a lot of clicks and hits.
Yep.
And now, boom, you're the little Skip Bayless.
305 texts in. I grew up watching Jordan, and I'm not generally a fan of LeBron. 5 years ago, I'd say Jordan was the GOAT, hands down. But LeBron is still a top 10 player after 20 years. That is the GOAT. Jordan's career was too short.
I can make the argument for Bron. I didn't have to take two breaks. I've been consistent. That's the other thing. 22 years consistently. Boom, 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 boom. Every year. Criticism, injury, anything. I didn't take a break.
I'll say this, though. LeBron he even strengthens his case more if he wins a championship this year, because then Jordan has 6 championships. LeBron has 5.
No, that's the
LeBron's done
thing.
longer.
It's all.
It's
Listen,
all up to you.
it's all going to be what resonates with you.
I'm just glad that I lived through both of them, and I can't wait to see who the next one is, who the next great is. I cannot wait.
Your pappy, your daddy, your uncles, your brothers, your moms, whatever, they'll tell you Kareem, or they'll tell you this person, because you know what? When they were growing up, that resonated with them. That player, that athlete.
I had an old coach that told me Wilt Chamberlain would own the league in any era, anytime, anywhere. He was underrated. Look how many points he scored. People don't know. And I said, that's silly.
It's what resonates with you. You talk about Mike. Everybody goes back to the 90s. And listen, I'm an 80s baby, but the 90s is when I grew up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The 90s is my decade, my era, my generation. That is me. So everything that was great, that basically made me, build me, you can tell, even from the way I move, the way I talk, that's what resonate with you. So the best artist, you make a case who's the best rapper. Some people will say, they'll say Drake, I'll say Jay-Z, I'll say Big.
Tupac,
Why?
Biggie.
90s, Pac.
There was a time in there, it was only Tupac or Biggie.
Great movies. We're in the best movies. You're going to think about the 90s, Terminator. Remember the sequel to Terminator? It's always going to be what resonates with you, bro.
Right, it's true. It's true.
Always going to be that.
I think most people agree, for pound, the greatest Heat basketball player is Dwayne Wade.
What resonates with them is that Dwayne Wade
was
drafted by the Heat.
You could also argue
but
the greatest player was Shaquille O'Neal.
The best player to ever put on a Miami Heat uniform is LeBron James.
Okay. We can't even get to a consensus on this.
No, but
who's the greatest Pelicans player of all time? Go.
No, the best player to ever put on a Miami Heat uniform is LeBron James. The greatest player in Miami Heat history is Dwayne Wade.
The person that is the essence of the Heat is Dwayne Wade, but also Shaquille O'Neal as far as pound for pound talent and dominance. Okay, that's too much. Let's get to some headlines. We're getting sidetracked.
No, I'm just saying you make a great case, but it's just like that's a great argument. You've asked somebody who's the best Miami Heat player, they're all gonna say Dwayne Wade. Most not all, but the majority say Dwayne Wade. But
Dwayne Wade might have been the third most talented person to ever put on a Heat uniform. And I know that sounds like blasphemy, but LeBron James and Shaquille O'Neal, you have a case. Once again, you have a case.
That's a good point.
Great.
That's a good point.
Let's shake it up, man. We're shaking. I really didn't think we were going to get that deep into that. I was really just amazed by what LeBron James was doing, and now it's just opened up everything. It's been great. Fantastic, by the way. I love it. And I love to hear what you have to say. 305-567-0560. It's all in the eye. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It really is. Well, let's get to some headlines. Cater Kahoo, apparently he's beautiful enough for the Dolphins. Cater not getting cooked this year. I'm telling you, he re-signed with the Dolphins for $3.3 million.
You're about to get flame broiled. Get out of my face with that.
I just remember Stephon Diggs in that one Buffalo game. Oh, my God, it was so bad.
Oh, man, put him on the foreman.
Come on, Vic. That's what got Vic Fangio in trouble. Like,
Vic was like, I'm done with this, bro.
Get some help over there.
Vic was like, I'm done with this.
Vic said, nope, you're going to learn your lesson. Your parents, sometimes you're only hurting yourself. You're going to learn. Canes spring game coming up at 4 o'clock. That is going to be right here on 560 WQAM. The pregame will start at 3 o'clock. We'll lead you up to that. No Carson Beck, but he will begin throwing this coming Monday. So get the spring game done. Then, of course, the transfer portal opens. But, he's got $4.5 million. He's fine. Just saying, get him throwing sooner than later. Canes baseball team got blown out by Duke 13-3. They play tonight at 6. The Heat absolutely mollywopped the Pelicans. That one was very, 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 very painful for me.
Put $150 on
153 to 104. It was not even that close when it was close, but then in the second half, it just ballooned, and it was just ugly. Miami is locked into the 10 spot in the East. They face the Wizards tomorrow to close out the season at 1. Then Wednesday, they go up to Chicago to play the Bulls do-or-die game.
Yes, the East is all locked up. We all know what the first three, the 1 through 6, the 3 to 6 matchups are. Yes. Knicks play the Pistons, Bucks play the Pacers, and then obviously the winner of the 7-8 game plays Boston, and the winner of the 9-10 and loser. They got to play the loser of the 7-8, and whoever wins that gets the 8 seed. The West is a mess. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Oh, we do know that the Lakers, the Thunder, and the
third.
Rockets, all the top 3 seeds. Thunder 1, Rockets 2, Lakers 3, and there's going to be a fight between for 4, 5, 6, and a couple of these teams play against each other tomorrow.
So yeah,
Clippers goes to the Golden State.
Clippers have been the hottest team in the NBA.
Right. They play the Warriors.
Well, OKC's good too.
Minnesota has a chance to get the 6th seed. It looks like Memphis is playing the playing game. Oh, and we do know that Dallas and Sacramento are in the playing game.
Are in that 9-10 spot. Yep. My guy Raul just said Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James because LeBron James' kids even realize it and wear Jordans. So there you go. I wouldn't wear my dad's shoes though, would you?
I would.
Oh, you would?
If it was nice.
You do get them for free, but then again, they have enough money that doesn't really matter about free. And they probably already had their own deals and everything. Marlins, oh man, they were up 4-0. Then they were up 4-2. Then they were down 7-4. Then they couldn't do anything. They lost to the Nationals yesterday. They're 1 game below 500. I'll take it. Today at 4:00, Venezuelan Heritage Day. Woo!
Wait, 1 game below 500 now?
Man, Vlad, I'm really upset that we have to work this afternoon. Yeah, they're 1 game below 500 right now.
That's pretty good.
That's
bro.
pretty good for what we
considering it's almost the season's almost a month old. And they're only they're not that many games below 500.
No, they've been in these games.
We're gonna see them next Thursday. This upcoming
Thursday. You and I will be at that early game, and we're gonna be living the good life, and it's gonna be fun. But today's the day to go. If you are thinking like, what am I gonna do today? What's something fun to do? What's gonna be one of the great events? Because South Florida, there's a billion things to do. Honestly, your best bet is going out to Lone Depot Park. 4:10 today, Venezuelan Heritage Day at Lone Depot Park. Sandy Alcantara on the mound and Chino Inacho performing on the field after the game.
I expect 30,000 there tonight.
And
you got Sandy coming back after
he had paternity leave.
Congratulations!
They saved
to
him for this game. Let's
be
honest.
Yeah. He's gonna pitch for his new baby. He's gonna go 6-7 innings. I'll say 6 2/3.
He balls out, man, with a big crowd like that. Sandy in front of those people with a new baby, and the concert afterwards, and then the Venezuelan music pumping in the background. Maybe got some tequeños, because they specialty do the concessions for it all. People dressed up on all their Venezuelan gear. Yeah, man, that's gonna be a party. Man, that's the place to go today. 4:10. Man, and tickets are not expensive. You get the concert, you get the game, you get Sandy on the mound, and then tomorrow is Bark at the Park, 1:40. Now, remember last year what the Marlins did? Anytime it was a big day, like Bark in the Park or Venezuelan Heritage, they get beat like 8-0. They'd give you nothing to cheer about. This is a different team. This is a different year. I'm going to go with the Marlins today. I'll be honest with you. It helps that Sandy Alcantara's on the mound. But big crowd, Sandy Alcantara, yeah, I got them winning against the Nationals today. I wish we were there. I really do. Inter Miami, they're going to be facing the Chicago Fire. That's going to be tomorrow at 4:30. They've also got Vancouver, who are the leaders in the Western Conference of the MLS right now. They're going to be playing them in the semifinals of CONCACAF Champions Cup. And then the Panthers, they get the Buffalo Sabres today at 6. The Masters getting underway over there in Augusta National. Never heard anybody say anything bad about the Masters as far as like if going in attendance. It's apparently the most magical place in the world. UFC 314 tonight, Kaseya Center. It's a big one right there. You got Volkanovski versus Lopez. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a step into the day spa. Uber has released its list of items left behind in cars in 2024. Some of them include a live turtle, a 5-pound bucket of beans, a chainsaw, a human-sized mannequin with human hair. Sounds like my weekends, man. I'm gonna leave it behind sometimes. Teron Armstead has retired, and he's kind of let us know some of the details of his final year with the Dolphins. And all I can say is Teron Armstead is a man. We're going to get into that next here on 560 WQAM.
Still I got to stick to my girls like glue, and I might not play
Miami Dolphins going into next season with a lot of question marks. Don't know what's going to be happening with Tyreek Hill. Is he going to be all right on the field, all right off the field? Could he possibly be traded? All that fodder is out there. We know Calais Campbell has quote-unquote returned home, even though he's originally from South Florida, but to his original NFL team, the Arizona Cardinals, on a one-year deal. And Teron Armstead last week announced his retirement. And earlier this week, he joined Joe Rose in the mornings right here on 560 WQAM to kind of give a behind-the-scenes look at what he's been going through over the past year, what he has going on with his life now, and what the future may hold. And little did we know what exactly Teron Armstead was going through. We did know that he was plagued by injuries and that it took a lot of work to get ready every Sunday to play, but maybe we didn't know how extensive and how much pain and how much he had to do. Joe Rosen, actually, Kim Bocamper asked him, kind of explain what it was like playing this final year, especially with that bad knee.
It's tough, man. It was a challenging season, probably the most challenging I've ever had. Making that decision, for one, as you mentioned, knowing my situation, but I was there to play, man. I didn't want to exit the game any other way except for with my cleats tied up and my helmet on. So decided to make it happen. Honestly, I couldn't do much without pain meds, so I didn't get a chance to work my technique much because I would only take the pain meds on game day. So some weeks were better than others. Honestly, some weeks I have a little bounce in my step, and when I went into those games, like I say, good luck to my opponent.
Man, glad
he wasn't lying. He was not lying. Bro, I've been saying it for weeks. Ever since he pretty much, I think he went to Colin Cowherd show, was letting everybody know he's planning on retiring. But when the announcement was made, it was like, damn, because, dude, you've seen harnesses before, right? Like, that's what they had to put on him in order for him to get ready to go play the game. And there were some times that he'd get in the game, and then, like, not after 5 plays, he has to leave and then get reharnessed again, and then to go out there, and then there might be games that he can't even finish. It's been like that for at least the past couple of seasons, and it got to the point, like, you have to think
it's just not worth it.
It's not worth it. It is at some point, it's not worth it.
Vlad, and this is the thing, he said he was taking pain meds just to get through playing.
Right.
He also revealed, he didn't reveal in that part of the interview, but he also revealed to the media and to his family and friends is that at the beginning of the season, a doctor told him he needed knee replacement, and he decided instead of having the knee replacement, he was going to play the season. He was going to finish it out because he loved his teammates, and like he said, he would rather go out no other way than with his spikes strapped on and his helmet on his head.
Yeah, they want to, guys want to fall on their shield.
Kudos to him, man. Kudos. He, with all that, he's got a career. He's proven himself. He doesn't have anything to prove other than just he loves it. And you know who else he did it for? He did it for his teammates. And one of the things he said he was going to miss the most are the guys in the locker room.
I'm going to miss that part. Just competing with the guys.
Yep.
Like, doing it with the guys. We having those small conversations right before kickoff. Every old lineman, we go, we shake hands, we hug each other, and we just a few words. Let's lock in, let's dominate, communicate. All that, just those small little keys before we start the game. Like, I'm gonna miss that part right there.
Teron Armstead, what a great leader, what a great teammate. He even went on to say that last year, Chop Robinson, the two rookies, or at least the two first and second round pick rookies, Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul, wore him out with questions. He said that Chop come over to him all the time. What makes you uncomfortable as an offensive lineman? What can I do? And Patrick Paul with just everything, micromanaging, saying, what do I do here? What do I do here? How do I do this? He had to even tell Patrick Paul at one point, slow down, rookie. You're not there yet. You're getting ahead of yourself. He was just there talking to the guys, leading the guys. Be great. And Vlad, you were in the locker room last year. A lot of the post games, you can attest to that. When Teron Armstead spoke, whether it was with his teammates or his media, everyone listened and everyone respected him.
Yeah, man. You're always going to respect a big guy who's
got talent.
Who's got talent and is one of the best at their position, and when he spoke, you listened. He didn't, I don't want to say he didn't mince words, but everything he said was had meaning.
Yeah, it was very pointed. I noticed that.
Very poignant like that. So same thing with Calais. Those were the guys that you go to, and they're wily vets. And that was the thing. Wily vets know how to I would say, you know how they know how to alleviate a stressful situation. They know what type of words to say to let you know, yes, we know what's going on is not what we expect or what the fan base expect, but trust me, we have the guys in the locker room, we have the coaches to make this get better, to turn this around. And they did. They did at a point.
Yeah, and I can't speak for Calais because I haven't really interacted with him a lot, and you can maybe speak for it more, but I can tell you about Teron Armstead. As big and as nasty of a guy he was also one of the nicest guys in the world.
Bro.
He always had time for people.
If I was in Vlad, I would run up to Calais Campbell and give that man a hug.
Yeah.
But I'm Vlad. And I'm older than him, so it's kind of weird for me to remember.
Weird. Don't do it.
He's a big teddy bear, bro.
They are, man.
He's a big teddy bear. Like, dude, if that man was angry, the world wouldn't be safe.
No. That's how the universe works, you know?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he had Hitch, if he was like, not Hitch, what was it, Hancock? Yeah, if he had Hancock problems, the world wouldn't be the world wouldn't be happy.
Oh, man.
But he's such a great presence. Like, that's the thing about it sometimes. And he's the type of athletes where, you know how we go, man, how come this person can't turn it off? Like, once the whistle sounds. Calais Campbell, Teron Armstead are the type of athletes, they know how to, once the whistle sounds and the game is over, they know how to decompress and be able to express themselves and talk to the media, talk to the fans in a respectful manner.
Yeah, they know how to flip the switch. And he went on to say, actually, if you're a Dolphins fan, something very promising. He believes that the sky's the limit for both Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul, who will be his replacement. He believes Patrick Paul will be an all-pro offensive lineman at some point in his career. He also believes Chop Robinson will have a 20-sack season at some point in his career. So
Chris Greer is better believing that. That's the number one person that's believing that.
Now, another thing I like about Teron, like we said, he is a big teddy bear. He is a really sweet guy, but he knows how to talk that talk, and he knows that he's got some skill. He said, if he gets his hands on you, whether you're Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, it is game over.
From Myles Garrett to Max Crosby, like, if I got that hand on the inside, let's try this again on the next snap, because I was going to win that rep.
Ooh, still got some dog in him right there.
By the way, he said something that's true. You do know, in the total amount of snaps, there's so many snaps that happen in an NFL game, that a defensive end, all he has to do is win 2 out of 60 snaps.
Oh, and he's great.
And he's great. Well, that offensive lineman won 58 out of the 60, but those 2 snaps,
got burnt.
That's it.
Got
He's
burnt.
a bum. That is the opposite of base. It's like the weird baseball.
It's opposite of baseball.
Right. 3 out of 10. You're great.
Yeah.
You're great.
If you do 3 out of 10 as a lineman, you're out the league.
You do 3 out of 10 as a lineman, you're out the league, bro.
Man.
Oh, man.
No glory for those guys. No glory. Now, as you hear Teron Armstead speaking, you can listen to him just all day. He was asked about his future, what his future holds. Now that he's kind of retired, he's going to decompress. What's he going to do? What is Teron Armstead going to do with his next step in life?
I had a couple conversations already, and I'm like, yo, you guys leave me alone, man. I've been retired for 24 hours. But Bo knows I spent some time with him on CBS in studio last year doing some media and broadcasting, and I appreciate you guys, Bo, you and Mike, and you got Bruno for allowing me to spend that time with you. It was incredible. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So to get in that space, I would be that's something I'm really interested in. I want to be able to talk O-line, D-line in detail, and educate the fan base, the masses, the football fans, more than ever before.
I'm all for it, man. If he wants to work with the local CBS crew, I think that's great. If he wants to work with WQAM, I think that's great. I'd love for him to come in here and be a part of the show.
You could come and join Vlad and Dan, Sports Day show right here,
Educate the masses on offense and defensive line. Although that doesn't sound like the sexiest thing, I guarantee if he broke it down for you, you would be amazed.
Let me tell you this now. I think fans are dumb. But I also think they're smart, and they're smarter now than they were before.
And they also know when they're given a good product.
And they know, let me tell you this. using you guys down here. Miami loves the flashy stuff. But you ask a Dolph fan right now, what is it going to take for this team to win? They're going to say the big uglies. So if they hear how to break Teron Armstead, respected, maybe future Hall of Fame offensive lineman, if he's talking if he says Patrick Paul is doing everything that needs to be done, you're going to be excited as a Dolph fan that, okay, maybe you do have your replacement for Teron Armstead. Maybe Chris Greer did reach when he drafted Patrick Paul in the second round. So yes, if Teron Armstead is going to go and do hits and TV or radio and break down offensive line, I would definitely listen. I would definitely subscribe to it and listen, because then you know what's going on. You want to be informative. You want to be knowledgeable. So wherever environment, most of us men like to go to bars and act like we know everything about sports when we don't. So then you could break it down, and we all want to be technical. It's no longer, even though I diss analytics, it's not bad, but the nerds finally got a say in sports. Good for them.
Yeah.
All right, good for them. They couldn't make it on the field, so they made it in the boardroom. I respect it. And that's what it is. You want to be informative and knowledgeable and making your opinion and in your argument. So I definitely would appreciate Teron Armstead coming on any platform and breaking down the play of the offensive line, because then you know what's going on. And if he's breaking it down and you're seeing the same thing, it lets you know that if I'm seeing it and Armstead seeing it, what the hell are the coaches doing?
Right. And the other thing is, sometimes to the naked eye, we might say, oh, he got burnt. And then Teron might come in and say, oh, they pulled a double stunt. So actually he's supposed to block two guys, and he did the best by blocking the guy that was closest to the quarterback. But the other guy, there's nothing you could do. And you're like, and it's on the running back now to do that. And you're like, oh, I thought he just got burnt. They're like, no,
that's why.
And you're like, whoa, that totally blew my mind.
That one thing I will say, one of the best purchases I've ever made was the NFL Plus and the Alt 22. So then when you get to watch the game and you're watching it like they're watching it in film, you realize that a lot of the mistakes that you thought was on one play, it was not on the play. It was actually on his teammate, or somebody didn't cover their assignment very well.
I saw that the other day. I think it was on X.com or something. They said that one time Greg Maddux, towards the end of the season, gave up a home run to a player to set him.
Was it to Jeff Bagwell or something
Jeff
like
Bagwell.
that? Yeah, to set him up in the postseason.
To set him up for a strikeout in the postseason.
It wasn't even late in the season. It was like early in the year.
He gave him a meatball. So
he gave him a pitch, like it was in a decisive count, and then he gave him a meatball because he wanted him to think about that same pitch later in the postseason, and the same situation happened in the postseason, and he struck him out.
Yeah, just for a strikeout in the postseason. He gave up a home run. But we don't see that.
Kuzan, when I tell you, the one-of-ones, they're not good only physically. They're psychotic and diabolical.
Yeah.
That's some diabolical ish to be thinking about. Like, you're thinking about something for like 5 months. Like, that's psychopath.
And it's for just one strikeout.
For one pitch.
Because you figure it might just be the determining part of the
bat.
series.
Not even, and mind you, you're Greg Maddux, so it's not like the first inning you're waiting to do this. You're waiting for this exact scenario in a critical spot of a game, maybe in the 5th inning or the 6th inning of a game 3 or game 4 in the postseason. And that's what they do.
That's it.
That's what those one-of-ones do.
So we're going to miss Teron Armstead on the field, but hopefully we will not be missing him when it comes to the sport of football. Hopefully he'll be around for a long time, helping, coaching, and teaching us and talking to us about everything that's going on with football. But he is a man after hearing all that great stuff, and he's always welcome here, and he's going to be always welcome here in Miami or wherever he decides to make his final destination with his family and his friends and everything else like that. Up next, going to do some early something or nothing. Vlad's going to decide whether it's something or nothing next here on 560 WQAM.
feature to go back and listen to any part of any shows you might have missed.
Do a little something or nothing real quick. I see there's some fodder online between who has the best goggle eyes in sports. My cousin Vladimir said Chris Sabo.
Honorary member, Chris Sabo.
Chris Sabo. Eric Dickerson, of course, also coming up.
Oh, yeah, ED.
Who else? Kurt Rambis is another one.
Kareem, obviously.
One of the leaders of all time. Yeah. Just thinking about the all-goggle team.
Doesn't Michael Phelps automatically become number one?
But it wasn't like for glasses purposes. It was just for...
Well, he needs it for a sport.
Yeah.
They needed it for the sport.
Yeah. There you go. That's something right there. Something or nothing right now. Borussia Dortmund is up on Bayern Munich in some Bundesliga action. 1-0.
Didn't Bayern lose to Inter in Champions League?
58. Did they lose to
Inter? I know my team got their ass kicked by Arsenal.
Yeah, Real Madrid was down 3-0 on aggregates.
Oh my God. Like they can't, in order for them to win,
they have to win by 4.
No. They have to win by 4, but they can't give up a goal and they have to score 3 goals.
Yeah. The quarterfinals for Champions League are pretty set for right now because most teams have.
Barca won 1 now on the road, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But yeah.
Right.
1-1 in these the German derby.
Yeah. Well, is it the derby? Borussia Dortmund. These are just the 2 best teams in Bundesliga. Traditionally, the 2 best teams in Bundesliga. Of course, I'm always a Union Berlin guy, but I don't want to get into my Bundesliga watching very much. Get me in trouble. Nikola Jokic. Nope, Nikola Jovic. Don't get them confused. Nikola Jovic, the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jovic is the 3rd player to average a triple-double in a season. Is that something or nothing?
Is it Jokic?
Jokic. Yep, Joker. Jokic.
Yeah, Joker. Let's just call him Joker. Yeah, it's something.
The other 2. Go ahead. It just takes a
Will
second.
and Oscar. I mean, it's Oscar and Russ.
Yes,
it's Russ and Oscar.
Correct. That's something.
Yeah, it's
man.
something, bro.
That's hard. You get a triple double one night, much less to average it for a season.
But for a big man to do that, and then he led the league with the most triple doubles this season.
Right, LeBron James right behind him. 40 years old. Jaylen Brown recently received a pain-killing shot in his knee. Is that something or nothing?
It's absolutely something. That game Tuesday night against the Knicks, you could tell that they were playing that game serious to kind of prove a point. And it was weird to see Jaylen Brown on the bench in the closing minute and in the crunch time. So that may be something to keep your eye on while the Celtics are trying to defend their title in the postseason.
Having one of your best, if not best player.
Well, you're talking about the MVP of last year's NBA Finals.
Right. Being injured in the playoffs could derail your chance to win a championship. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava is going to be leaving the school, and the rumor is it's due to NIL money. Is that something or nothing? He was a starting quarterback.
Something. He was he the quarterback last season?
Starting quarterback for Tennessee.
And Tennessee finished. Didn't they finish in the playoffs?
Yep. Well, they did.
Yes, and then I believe they lost to Ohio State, I believe, in the first
This
round.
is the rumor. He's getting paid around $2 million. He
wants Carson Beck money.
That's the rumor. He saw what Carson Beck made.
You got to
and
understand, he's in the SEC, and he led his team to the playoff, and he's coming back next year for another season. He's expecting, hey, man, if I got $2 million last year, I should be moved up at least 3 to 3.5.
The market's the market, as Tua says.
The market's the market. So, yeah. And there's probably a university out there, like a Florida State, that's probably willing to offer him.
That's true, because the transfer portal opens up after all these spring practices.
That is true. Yes. That's nasty work.
So he stopped showing up to the reporting for practice or meetings or buildings or anything like that.
I'm all for these young men to get their money, but it's nasty work that the portal opens again right after spring practice.
Yeah, so you practice, you kind of think you have your lineup set, and then you could have your starting quarterback leave the school.
That's why now I'm totally against Deion's suggestion.
What's the suggestion? That
to play against other schools?
What do you mean?
Remember, he wanted to have the spring game instead of the intra, like it's
it's not a practice. It's more of a
practice. It's kind of like an intramural game.
You've seen some schools straight up. They've just gotten rid of spring practice,
right? So
in an attempt to curb the guys putting some tape out there and being like, oh, look what I did in spring practice. Whoop, out.
Yeah, because like how many people's there? How many people's getting their phones? They record my snap, record this
It's tape.
Yeah, everything's recorded, right? So then it's available. Yeah, I remember Dion wanted to have other universities play each other in spring practice,
Right, kind of like a jamboree.
like like kind of a scrimmage.
Yeah.
But I don't want that scrimmage now
No.
because guess what? Oh, I like the way y'all running things over there. Hey man, let me jump in. At first I wanted that, but now nah.
Or what if you're the coach at Arkansas and you really like that quarterback over there at Missouri? You're like, hey, let's have a scrimmage, and you're basically just trying to recruit that Missouri quarterback over to your school.
In my scrimmage rules, you can't scrimmage against somebody within your conference.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so
Right.
Arkansas likes the Cal quarterback who was Mendoza, and says, you know what, we'd like to practice scrimmage with you, and then basically spend the whole time recruiting that quarterback.
You got to scrimmage against Sister Helen of the Sister Helen Mercy. Yeah, you got to scrimmage against.
Or play some UF. That would be exciting though. Get some use out of the UFL. Nobody watches that. Get the Birmingham Brahmins to play against the Colorado Buffaloes.
That's messed up.
That would be interesting though.
The season, the UFL season's on right now. What are you talking about?
They take a little break, like an international break.
Just started.
It's soccer. You take a little international break.
They just started.
It's a practice.
They just started their season. The Rock ain't gonna stop that. This is,
I just think it's interesting to see to expose the level of play of UFL, whether good or bad. If a college team can go in there and hang with a UFL team, it's like, all right, like, do we really need this league? Because technically, if you play a good college team, there's some guys who are going to make the NFL, some guys that are going to make the UFL.
I mean, certain people, there's a joke that the national champions are 33rd best team in the NFL.
And, I mean, there
were times we thought Alabama could beat the worst team. Like, that's always the running joke.
It's not even close.
Right, the best college football team could beat the worst NFL team.
The best college football team against the worst NFL football team would probably lose like 38-3. But I'm just saying, that's just me. Did you hear about this?
You giving them 3 points? Wow, you're a nice guy.
Hey, the sun shines on the dogs. You know what? At least once a day.
They'll still block it those 2 times. They ain't getting no 3 points. It'll be a shutout.
Every NFL team is a college all-star team.
Pretty much.
So, man, I was kind of floored by this. AC/DC launched their first U.S. tour since 2016 in Minneapolis, Minnesota earlier this week.
Were they back in black?
They were back in black. Brian Johnson. Now, remember last in 2016, Axl Rose was the lead singer of AC/DC for that stretch.
Really?
Because Brian Johnson was losing his hearing and his voice. But Brian Johnson has had some surgeries and he's back. AC/DC.
Did he sound good?
I'm guessing possibly not, but I'm just saying, I can't believe AC/DC still tours.
They're not dead.
Well, some of them are. Malcolm is.
Well, not all
Malcolm
of them are dead.
Angus is still there, and he's.
Guess what, bro? Listen, all right?
If you can walk, if you can talk, you're going on tour.
Somebody hit me up the other day. My homegirl hits me up and was like, yo, you gonna go see Wu-Tang's final concert? I'm like, where is it? Tampa. I'm not going to Tampa.
Final in Tampa? That's where they decide to call it a day?
Not their final concert is in Tampa, but they're on a tour and they only stop within my vicinities in Tampa. And then I thought about it. And I'm like, I've seen Wu-Tang the last 5 years. I think I've seen Wu-Tang over 25 times.
Yeah.
I'm all right. not seeing them again.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to...
They're not nothing to F with, but it's not to the point for me to like travel.
Yeah, no.
And then get a hotel. No, I'm good, bro.
That's a lot for a band you've seen enough times in your life.
So AC/DC, congratulations. If you're able to perform and people are still spending the money to go see you perform, go about it.
My favorite was BB King. He didn't mince his words. They say, man, BB, you've had an illustrious career. You've done all this. Why do you keep performing? He said, don't make no checks when you don't perform. Straight up.
He's right.
It's true. BB, you have nothing to prove. I ain't proving nothing. I don't have anything to prove.
I got bills, man.
I want that check. People like that check. I don't blame them. An Alaskan woman has a record 3-inch mouth gap, meaning that she can open her mouth up to 3 inches wide. Something or nothing.
That's something.
Man, you know how sometimes they make those big burgers or they make those big sandwiches? Like, how am I supposed to eat this? She doesn't have that problem. Maybe those jumbo dogs, those kosher dogs. Glizzies. Load them up. She got it. Just take it down. Just saying. Ooh, today's horoscope.
Wow. How many?
3 inches. It doesn't sound like a lot, but think about it. If you got a mouth gap of 3 inches,
Jesus.
3 inches.
Man.
But this one's important. It's a horoscope, and it includes you and I and a lot of other people today. Today's horoscope says Capricorns should steer clear of Aries and any type of argument with an Aries today.
Uh-oh.
You and I, man. And I got to call my mom today. It's her birthday. It's Big Lynn's birthday.
Jeez, that's all I hang out there.
Vlad, what am I going to do?
Wait.
Take one for the team.
Hold on. Unfortunately for you, you got to take that. But I'm special, so I'm Vlad. I'm also Aquarius. So what does the Aquarius say?
I thought you were Aquarius.
I'm right in the middle.
You're at the 18th, right?
20th.
Oh, that's the day, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't read that
So
one.
it's either the
me.
last day. It's either the last day of Capricorn or the first day
Well,
day
you're
of
clear
Aquarius.
then. You're clear. You're
Okay,
clear.
I'm clear.
You're clear. You just got to lie on the side.
I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah, stay on that Aquarius side, man. I got to be careful today. Big Lynn, when you answer the phone, it's your day. Be sweet, please. Last but not least, a British woman says she rides the exact same high thrill roller coaster ride at least once a week, and she's ridden it over 4,000 times. Is that something or nothing?
I mean, it might be weird, but it's something for her. Like if that's her fun. That's how she gets. I don't want to say that's how she gets some type of thrill. Let her do it.
Are you a roller coaster lover?
Not a roller coaster.
I've been on some intense roller coasters, man. I told you that place in Valencia, California. I don't know if it's called Magic Mountain. Man, I rode some rides that I was scared for my life. I almost lost my shoes.
I don't like roller coasters, but I like water rides.
The problem with roller coasters isn't so much the roller coaster. Like we said, Knott's Berry Farm, if you're going to go just for fun, that's the best place to go.
That's great.
There's no lines. Mm-mm. The rides are very intense.
And you can drink.
Oh, you can? Okay, I didn't know that. But man, the problem with you go to these big parks, you sit in line for 2-3 hours, and then you ride the roller coaster for like 40 seconds, and then you're done. And it's and then you're just back in line for another 3 hours. It's just, All right, we've got one more hour of the show before the spring game. We got the spring game, Miami Hurricanes starting at 4. Pregame is at 3 in the next hour. Kind of get you caught up with everything. Daniel Solana going to join us because there is a lot going on with Inter Miami. I mean, seriously, whether you're a fan or not, you will find out a lot going on with Inter Miami, what it means for not just the organization, but for this city. And, of course, we'll get you ready for that Hurricanes spring game. The Canes will win today. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. That's next here on Sports Day 560 WQAM. Sports Day leading you up to pregame for the spring game from Coral Gables Cobb Field over there on the campus of the University of Miami. As we get ready for that spring game, I think a lot of people, what they'll be looking for today, of course, you're always looking for quarterback play. Even though Carson Beck will not be throwing, you're looking at backup quarterback play. That's every school, everywhere, every team, all the time. Well, also, I think this Canes team, we're going to see what the defense is going to look like, because that kind of faltered last year towards the end. They got a new defensive coordinator. They got a new defensive coordinator. Going to kind of see what the scheme looks like and how this defense looks in the spring game practice. I'm just trying to say what we're going to kind of look for and glean from this game. What can you really glean?
You ain't going to glean crap from this game.
Well, last year, the whole thing was, let's see what Cam Ward's going to look like. And I thought he looked very strong, or at least sounded, because I was here at the state. I didn't watch it, but he sounded like he was in control of the team, control of the offense. It's a glorified scrimmage. It is. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm going through casual bullet points of what at least I'll be looking for, I'll be listening for this game. Is mostly I want to see what the backup quarterback play is like, and also what the defense, especially the secondary, is going to be like. We know the offensive line most likely going to be very strong. Going to be happy to see, hopefully, Reuben Bain getting him back from injury and playing hard. So yes, it is a glorified scrimmage, but got something to look forward to, something to look at. And if you're gambling on this, I don't know where you're finding lines. But
gambling? What line is it going to be?
Take a break.
Oh, man, get out of here.
I'm just saying, if you are, for some reason, take a break.
I think that's the reason why I don't like the spring game. There is no odds.
Take a break.
There's no odds.
I'm just saying, public service announcement, take a break. If you're finding odds, or you got a buddy, you and he or you, or you and her, or whatever, going back and forth, gambling on this thing, take a break.
There's no yards or anything being taken. Come on, man.
If you're out there at the field right now, I think it's called Cobb Stadium. Let's see. Miami Spring Game 2025. I want to say Cobb. I don't want to mislead you if you go to the wrong stadium. Yeah, Cobb Stadium. So if you're out there, if you're going to the game with a friend at Cobb Stadium today, and you're going to, start gambling, that's on you. That's on you.
Look, man, 4 months. That's all we can say. 4 months.
We're going to be kicking off basically the biggest kickoff game of the season this year. It's going to be Miami Notre Dame.
4 months and 19 days.
Hard Rock Stadium, 7:30, August 31st.
Yes, sir.
That is going to be a huge Labor Day weekend game, national TV, right here on 560 WQAM.
Ooh, that means that's going to be a long September, bro.
Yes, indeed. Early Labor
first,
Day.
Yeah, like Labor Day is the first day of September. So it's like, geez.
That's what I'm talking about.
That means the kids go back to school early this year.
Okay.
Nice. No, as you get older, Dan, you start planning for stuff like that. Like right now.
You start planning?
I do, because look, I know in another month and a half, there's going to be no more traffic because kids are going to be out of school. But then you start remembering, oh no, then you have the whole summer. And then August starts, and then them little bastards got to go back to school. And then now you got to readjust your timing. You got to get up earlier instead of like that little 15 minutes of extra sleep is no longer.
So it looks like they're going to try to kick the game off around 3:30 today, not so much at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
so
word?
Pregame. Well, our pregame starts at 3.
Right, but we were thinking it was
Canes
expected
football
to be 3 to 4.
Canes Football on Instagram at Canes Football says 560 WQAM for the radio. 3:30 p.m. is the time. So maybe, I don't know, Cobb Stadium 2025 spring game.
Maybe these kids want to get the hell out and go to the Kaseya Center and enjoy UFC 314.
Yep. If you can't make it out there to UFC 314 or don't have the money, once again, I told you Duffy's in Plantation. $5 cover to get in, but they give you a $5 kickback gift card. So it's basically no cover to get in. And then 2-for-1 drinks are in full effect. Justin will be there. I don't know if Sabrina's going to be there. I'll have to text.
I gotta see Sabrina. I haven't seen her in a minute. I'm lacking on my Pippin.
You've been busy though, man. I have actually been seeing you a lot of Thursdays here at the radio station, working evenings, so it's kind of harder on you.
I'm slacking on my Pippin.
Oh man. All right, let's get some headlines, because we do have Daniel Solana coming up in the next segment to talk about everything that's going on with Inter Miami. All types of craziness. No doubt, I give you an update on Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. And I said Borussia Dortmund up 1-0. Now it is 2-2. So we've had 3 goals scored.
This game is
like
exciting.
10 minutes, man.
The last 10 minutes have been exciting.
Goodness gracious, man. Soccer is so crazy. And of course, we'll have Dan Solana on. He's our soccer expert. He's going to let us know about everything.
What do they call this?
Bundesliga.
There's we have El Clasico. You have the Madrid Derby. You have the Manchester Derby. You have
El Tráfico.
You have Boca Junior versus River Plate.
Oh yeah, man. Great game. Oh. All right, well, let's get into some of it. Of course, Tyreek Hill, the audio recording of his mother-in-law calling 911 the other day during a domestic dispute has been released. Both sides have decided not to press charges, although his wife, Keita Vaccaro Hill, has decided to at least file for divorce. That's what she's saying. I don't know if it's officially been filed, but there's been some issues there. The Dolphins are taking it as it's a private matter and consider the case closed. Kader Kahu, his case is open with the Miami Dolphins. He has just signed a $3.3 million deal with the team. So you will see Kader doing some defending in the secondary this coming season with the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, there's glaring needs for more help in that area, leading a lot of the pundits like a Joe Rose or like a Kim Bokamp or a Dave Hyde to say maybe with the first pick in the draft, at number 13, we should get a cornerback or someone that caliber.
No,
a lot of fans say no.
I say no because the type of cornerback you would need, you're not going to get him. I think Will Johnson's going to be taken very high.
The guy from Texas, though.
No, you're talking about corner, right?
Yeah,
I was talking about the guy from Michigan.
Right, they're expecting him to go a little higher.
Excuse me, I was thinking maybe you guys would get Kelvin Banks Jr. from Texas as an offensive lineman.
There's so many needs. If you have a good, best available offensive lineman, defensive lineman, cornerback with the best of the best that's available, take it, and then just as you go with your 9 other picks. But yeah, you need a lot of help on the offense, defensive line, and secondaries.
But you definitely should shore up the offensive line. I know you drafted Paul second round, and
he's going to fill in for Teron Armstead.
But you also, and even you gave him money too. Austin Jackson, you got to hope that he bounces back. But yeah, but that's not always a given.
Right. It's, when you have injuries, there's never a given. When you have a large, heavy body, a strong body coming back from injury, that's even more pressure on those body parts that are injured. It's crazy.
By the way, it's called Der Klassiker.
Der Klassiker?
Yeah, the Bayern and Borussia. It's just basically the classic, but in German.
In German.
Der Klassiker. Der Klassiker.
So just get rough with the words and you'll be
I like it, though. I like it. This has been some exciting football action going on.
These teams are going at it, too.
Every time I look up, waving.
Every time I look up, they're taking shots at the goal, man.
Yo, there's a lot of shots on goal in this one, bro.
Bundesliga is exciting, man. I'm not going to lie. I love me some Bundesliga, but I'm always going to be an Union Berlin guy. Represent. Columbus High boys basketball coach Andrew Morin has been named an assistant coach and director of player development for the Miami Hurricanes basketball team. Morin recently won a national championship at Columbus with those Boozer twins. Now they've won the past 4 state championships, and now they just finished that Chipotle national championship last week. So, oh man, that I almost got a goal right there, Dartman. Goodness. Keep you updated on that. The Canes baseball team, they got blown up by Duke 13-3 yesterday. They play tonight at 6. The Heat wallop the Pelicans 153-104. Miami's locked into the 10 spot. In the East, they face the Wizards to close out the season tomorrow at 1. Then Wednesday night, to be determined what time, they face the Bulls. And of course, a do or die play-in game. Going to be very exciting. Seems like we always face the Bulls in the play-in. If history is any indication, that's a good thing because we've always come out on top with the Bulls. So we'll see. Marlins couldn't hold on to a 4-0, then a 4-2 lead. They fell 7-4. But today, if there's any game to go to early in this season, opening day was the day. Of course, Sandy Alcantara, Paul Skeens, Livy Dunn, Luis Fonzi, and Flo Rida, Joe Rose, Dan Marino out there for the first pitch. But today's one of the good days, man. 4:10, Venezuelan Heritage Day, Sandy on the mound, and you get Chino Inacho performing on the field after the game. Whew. But if you're an animal
That's an
lover,
eventful Saturday, man.
Just in Lone Depot Park alone, it's an eventful Saturday. Just imagine Officer Perez is working so hard. So Godspeed right now.
Listen.
We're going Thursday.
If she's not there, I'm going to have a talk
with security and
the
police department.
No, with everybody that worked with the Miami Marlins, because Jessica Rabbit's no longer there.
I know.
Jessica the bartender. And now Officer Perez not there. I'm not liking this. I'm not liking this at all.
Peter Bendix, I know you want the groceries to cook with, but there's some things you don't mess with success.
Yeah, don't put a Ben on my thing because you can't afford that, Peter Bendix. No way.
Those sabermetrics here.
Yeah, those analytics.
Get them out of here. I know it works. Where was I? I don't know. Oh, tomorrow's Bark at the Park, 140.
Oh, wow. So you look at that. You have an eventful Saturday night with a concert, and then you're gonna bring a lot of dogs to the park.
No one's working harder than our dude Nathan over there, who's got to stay
Shout out to
extra
Nathan, man.
extra long to get the pitcher's mound ready, and because of the concert afterwards, then he has to clean up after all the dogs after the
Fam,
game.
I went opening day a couple weeks ago when they played the Pirates and Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
Dude, nobody left after the game. And then remember, they came back and won the ninth inning, so it was like, great. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 got that stadium ready for the concert.
Despacito.
And then Flow Ride and the whole nine. And the guys were happy. Because here's the thing, I got my boy. You met Big Mike.
Yeah, I know Big Mike.
His girl,
Yeah,
Michelle.
very nice Colombian lady.
Nice. She loves
Luis Fonsi or Flow Rider or both.
No, Luis Fonsi. And trust me, all the women love him. And they
really?
They sat in the seats and just singing the song.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah,
And the men were just looking for bars that were open. And when they found out the bar downstairs was open, it was just like a rush.
It's so weird. Guys and girls attend concerts so differently. Like, I don't sing along really to songs. I just kind of enjoy the music.
It depends on who the
But girls
artist
sit there
is.
and
No, they having flashbacks. They're having flashbacks, bro. They're flashing back.
No, when I went to what have I been to lately? I went to Violent Femmes. Women were singing along to the songs. When I went to J Balvin, women were singing along to songs. Guys, sometimes they sing along, sometimes they don't. I like to just kind of listen to music, feel the music. Maybe I'll look around and watch the ladies sing the songs and enjoy the music, but it's just a different experience. I don't know. Lionel Messi, Inter Miami. They could be closing in on a little longer of their relationship together. We're going to talk to Daniel Solana about that next. They get the Chicago Fire tomorrow, 4:30. Will Messi play?
See, Messi's the type of I'm definitely paying that more money for that. You got it. That's good. That's vintage. Messi's vintage. You got to keep him.
I mean, he's still playing like a fine wine, better with age. He's still scoring goals. He had a brace the other night when they needed him against LAFC to advance in the CONCACAF Champions Cup to take on Vancouver. We got Vancouver. Imagine if you can win CONCACAF Champions Cup. Of course, let's not put the carriage in front of the horse. We got 2 games against Vancouver, then a championship. We got to find a place to watch. If they do play in the championship game, I got a little spot we might have to go and watch this game at, man. Because that's a game.
Down here?
Yeah.
So I will make, you know what?
Probably it'll be right after the show, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. I thought maybe it might be like a Saturday. It might be a Saturday night game after the show.
But it's going to be here in the obviously Western Hemisphere, obviously Northwestern Hemisphere.
Well, it might be at their stadium, right?
It could be. I'm guessing that the team that's higher seed will get the home stadium.
Oh, wow. He missed it.
We also got the Masters going on, by the way.
Yes, the third round. And apparently Zach Johnson decided to have a throwback day, to quote our Daniel Solana, who's listening to us on the group chat on YouTube and Twitch. He's shooting 7 under through 16 holes.
God.
He is now currently in 5th place at 5 under. Justin Rose, he begins his third round at 240. He's at 8 under. DeChambeau is at 7 under. And Rory,
he's shagging balls right now.
Who? DeChambeau?
Bryson.
Bryson. He's just practicing right now He's just practicing right now. Yeah. Him and Justin Rose will be the final.
Practicing.
Yeah, no, him and Justin Rose are the final group. Rory McIlroy and I want to say this guy's name right. Corey Connors, the Canadian, the Canucker. That Canucker, him and Rory are in the second before final group. They both had 6 under.
Excellent.
But Zach Johnson, the American, making a charge on moving day.
Roll back the clock. All right, before we get to Daniel Solana, real quick, let's step into the day spa. LA influencer.
Who?
Isabella Garcia.
She's beautiful.
She's pretty cool. She says men stare at her while she works out at the gym.
Because she's beautiful. What do you...
Oftentimes, their girlfriends have to drag them away from her.
Damn, that's how beautiful she is.
Man, you got to keep your game tighter than that. You got to keep your
hold
game
on. I need to see this young lady because I need to see how beautiful she is.
Isabella Garcia.
Isa, spell that. Is it
ISSA? ISA Bella. Isabella Garcia. ISABELLA. And then GARCIA. Isabella Garcia. But you got to keep your game tighter than that, man. You're working out with your old lady. You're going out to eat with your old lady. I went somewhere the other day. It's Oro on Lincoln Road. I ain't going to lie. They had some models in there. I was playing it cool. Isabella Garcia. I don't know why I'm saying it Italian because
I don't know. Yeah, I was like,
sounds like it, but it doesn't. LA influencer. Okay, are you staring her down with your old lady there?
If she's wearing that outfit, yeah.
Okay. See what happens when you get home.
Yeah, if she's wearing them Daisy Dukes.
See what happens when you get home.
Hey, man. Making the way.
I can touch with my eyes. All right. Well, look, we got enough silliness. We got our real influencer, our soccer influencer, Daniel Solana from Battered Herons podcast coming on.
Definitely going to see Boss Hog.
We're just going to tee him up and start just saying number one. Like we're going to do like a top 10, just number one, number two, number three, number four to him. And he's just going to start just rattling off the most important things happening with Inter Miami. That is next here on 560 WQAM.
WQAM broadcasting live
There is so much going on with Inter Miami right now. I could just go down the list, but instead, I'm just going to bring in Daniel Solana, our soccer expert for Battered Herons podcast, and I just want to go priority. Daniel Solana, number one, most important thing surrounding Inter Miami, go.
Inter Miami is working on a extension of Lionel Messi's contract through the 2026 season. So that'll put him in uniform when Miami Freedom Park opens next spring, I guess, next spring, when the team opens the 2026 season.
So the extension is basically done. Lionel Messi going to be around in Miami for at least another season or two.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
So we can guarantee that in the World Cup, Argentina's having a game in South Florida.
Oh.
I mean, I don't want to go that far.
You don't have to go that far, Vlad. You can, I'm just letting you know that, yeah, if you have Lionel Messi for another couple of years here in South Florida, and we're talking about, the biggest sporting event in the world that happens every 4 years, yeah, they're having a game in Argentina's having a game down here in South Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it would be at Hard Rock Stadium, though. It wouldn't be at Miami Freedom Park. But still, I mean, we saw the turnout that they had, at the Copa America final. It was a huge turnout, so I wouldn't be surprised if they got a game in South Florida, like you say, Vlad.
All right, Daniel Solana, priority number 2 when it comes to being an Inter Miami fan surrounding this organization.
Baltasar Rodriguez, the young Argentine from Racing Club de Avellaneda, is now in uniform and will be at Javier Mascherano's dispense to be he'll be available for lineup selection. So we could see him debut this weekend, tomorrow against the Chicago Fire. Also, the other new signing, the Ecuadorian Alan Obando, made his debut last weekend when Inter Miami tied their game last weekend. And look, those are two really promising young signings, and I'm really excited about both of them.
Okay, with the new signings, they also had I want to be right. Was it the kid that's on loan? Do they have a kid that's on loan, or maybe I'm confusing with the Ecuador?
They do. Tadeo Allende.
Right, and then he had a chance to, pass it, make a pass, assist on a goal to the legend, and instead of assisting to the legend, he decided he wanted to go for himself. That was in the tie that they had against I believe, what's the Jamaican team?
Right.
Right. Now, they could have won the game. They won the game because they had scored in Jamaica, so they had the aggregate goal, the road goal ready. But I'm just saying that I see that Javi trying to use a lot of the young players early to try to get a good, get a good track on them. And that's good for the older players, I believe, because I think you don't want to, use them so much so early in the season.
Yeah, but they are, and when they're available, these guys want to play. You've seen Suarez hasn't missed a game all season. Messi's missed a couple of games because of a slight injury that he had. That he's always, it's not really an injury. It's just something that he is chronic and he nurses, throughout his career. So look, these guys, when they're available, they want to play. Tomorrow, Inter Miami has a 4:30 p.m. game, like you said, Dan, against Chicago Fire, and I'm expecting them to play. They're traveling. I'm expecting them to play. They want to play. So that's exciting for the fans because Messi ducked out. Apparently, he ducked out Chicago the first 2 times. So now he'll get his chance to play at Soldier Field, and the Chicago fans will be happy that they get to see him. Now, will they start? That's a question we don't know. So maybe they do and play, only a half, only 60 minutes, or maybe they come on in the second half. We'll have to see what Mascherano does. He doesn't like to show his cards, the day before the game. So we'll have to wait until about 45 minutes before kickoff tomorrow to find out who starts.
All right.
But they're going.
Yeah, and when they go, they most likely will play. Third and most important thing for Inter Miami and their fans.
Third most important thing is the team beat LAFC. Historic win, absolute historic win. They were down 1-0 in the aggregate. They gave up a goal early to Aaron Long, U.S. Men's national team player, someone who was rumored actually to be possibly coming to Inter Miami in the offseason, ended up going to LAFC. He gets that goal against them. Now you're down 2-0 in the aggregate, and none other than the GOAT himself, Messi, puts the team on his back and scores that. First of all, he scored an awesome goal that they ended up calling back, which I don't know if you guys saw that, but he scored a goal when LAFC was trying to set up their wall, and Hugo Lloris was on the post setting up his wall, and he just kind of shot it and scored. The referee gave the goal, and then apparently, since he had given a yellow card, he needed to blow the whistle. And so they called the goal back, and he had to retake the free kick, which is absolutely ridiculous. You can see the referee signaling the goal, and then he had to go to his fourth official to then tell him, hey, no, you have to recall it back. So anyways, Messi puts the team on his back, gets that penalty in the 80th minute, 82nd minute, and Inter Miami move on to the semifinals to face the Vancouver Whitecaps, which is not going to be an easy game. The Whitecaps are in first place in the Western Conference. They've been playing fantastic. They got that late game tie against Pumas to now move on to the semifinals. But how exciting is this, guys? Two MLS teams on one side, two Liga MX teams on the other side. We're going to get a Liga MX MLS final. And to answer your question, Dan, right now, if Inter Miami wins the next two games, they will host the final at Chase Stadium. So the way that it works is the team with the most points after the round of 16. So Inter Miami right now has 9 points. And one team has 8 points, one team has 6 points. So depending on how the games factor out, if Inter Miami still has the most points after this next round, they will host the final at Chase Stadium. And that'll be exciting.
And just put in perspective for people that might not know, how important would this be for Inter Miami to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup?
I mean, it would be absolutely everything. This is what Jorge Mas and his ownership group have dreamed of ever since they took over the team, is winning this trophy. This trophy means everything because it's the trophy of basically of CONCACAF, of your federation. So this is the international cup that everybody in CONCACAF dreams of winning. And honestly, it would be absolutely everything. And not only would it be great to win, but to do it at home in front of the home fans, I think is really what this team wants to do. And so no doubt they'll be giving everything they can when they play this upcoming week against the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, it really would be validation for all the moves that Inter Miami has made over these past couple of years. And to put it, I mean, it's basically you are the best club. You're the club champions of North America for the most part, for lack of a better term.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. It's basically the same thing as the winner of the Copa Libertadores in South America or the winner of the Champions League in Europe. That would be the equivalent of winning this trophy. And not only that, how cool would it be that Messi wins the Champions League in Europe and now he would win the Champions Cup in North America? I mean, That would be cool.
More trophy sad.
That's awesome. Is there anything else of importance if you're an Inter Miami fan that you would want to speak on right now that we should be keeping an eye on, or that we should beat our chest about, or that we should be a little bit worried about?
The only thing is the fans got to get out to the stadium. They did a fantastic job the other day against LAFC. We got to do it again. When Vancouver comes into town, support the team, and really, it's been a heck of a year so far for Inter Miami with only one loss, that coming in the Champions Cup. Other than that, they've been absolutely perfect. A couple ties along the way, but this team has everything in line to win a lot of big things this year.
Tomorrow's game against Chicago Fire should be another Inter Miami win, correct? Am I being just a cocky Inter Miami fan? But I expect us to win everything in MLS, to be honest with you.
I do too. We'll have to see, who starts and all that. I know, Greg Berhalter is looking forward to this game. He is the coach for Chicago Fire. So I know. I feel the same way, Dan. I feel the same way. But,
Scarred.
He's definitely looking forward to this game. I know he had it marked on his calendar. So, look, we'll have to see who starts. But even a tie for me would be okay. I know a lot of Inter Miami fans like yourself are extremely cocky because of the team. They expect to win every single game. But
every game.
The truth of the matter is that the MLS season is 34 games. You're not going to win the MLS Cup by winning a game, right? By winning a game in April. So even if you tie, I think even if you get some points, that would be a positive for Inter Miami. The key is health. They need to get out of there with some points and health, 100% health.
All right, quick. Let's turn around from soccer. Go to another sport that Daniel Solana loves. As you can see, he's wearing the hat. He's wearing the golf hat. How do you feel about the first 2 rounds of the Masters, and what do you expect to see in with the final groups in this third round?
I mean, I'm loving the Masters. I was watching yesterday. I was watching right before I came on. I'm hoping to play around tomorrow morning before it comes on. I'm getting the itch once you watch it. But I mean, Zach Johnson, he's unbelievable today. I'm watching the Chilean Neiman. He's playing fantastic today. Spieth is having a great day. But I'm excited about these later groups because Justin Rose, he's a fantastic player and he was killing it yesterday. Great score. And who doesn't like to watch Bryson? I mean, the guy, I'm wearing, I'm sporting it. I put money on Bryson to win it this weekend. I'm hoping he does. And really, it's kind of weird, but I saw a reel before I came on here about, so apparently the last 15 Masters winners fit into a certain category or mold, a certain age, a certain ranking, and it ended up being that Bryson DeChambeau was the one based on all this model to win this year. So that person might be onto something.
Boyd, this is what when you're good and you're consistently good, they keep forgetting about you. And nobody mentions the best golfer in the world, Scottie Scheffler. Nobody. Best golfer in the world. He's the defending champion. Nobody mentions him. Why? Because you expect him to be in contention. Because it's similar to this, we were having the debate, describing the Jordan, LeBron situation, and how that's constantly a debate. And it's almost, if you're consistently good, you almost get, it's almost a weakness, or not even, I want to say a weakness, but it's almost, it goes against you. Same thing happened with Roger Federer. Same thing happens with the F1. How we were talking about Lando, and it when you consistently win, it's almost frowned upon that everybody's always looking at the next person as the better one. Now, don't get me wrong, DeChambeau is great, but Scottie Scheffler is still 500. Scottie Scheffler is still the defending champs, and nobody's giving him a chance to win. This guy's won 2 Masters.
I'm not hating on him. I'm not saying I'm not giving him a chance to win. I'm just saying, basically going on the storylines that we've seen so far, after Thursday, after Friday, and now into Saturday. I'm going off of the storylines. I'm excited to see how Bryson plays with a little bit of pressure, knowing that he could be one of the favorites. And I just love to watch him play. I love to, that he takes risks. I love that, he hits the ball extremely hard. But look, I was watching Matsuyama play right now, and he was playing fantastic. Xander Schauffele, who was started off with a good round, he chunked a couple of chips and ended up bogeying a hole that was the easiest hole on the course. So I'm getting excited. After I get off here, I'm gonna go make myself a pimento cheese sandwich. I'm gonna see if I can wrangle up a dollar Coke somewhere, because you can't get a dollar Coke anywhere in Miami. I mean, that the only place you can do that is in Augusta.
Yeah,
wow.
The concessions there are wonderful.
Really, they that cheap?
Yeah.
Because they want people to consistently come by, by and buy.
No, because it's been that cheap since the first Masters tournament. They never changed the prices on any of the prices that they had there in the concessions.
Yeah, so pimento cheese $1.50, I want to say. Coca-Cola $1. Now the gift shop's a totally different animal.
Serious?
Gift shop is a totally different animal now.
Yeah.
You know what? You probably have to pay an arm and a leg for the ticket and the badges. So yeah, I guess, yeah.
Now, I want to ask you this, Daniel Solana, since you know a little bit more about golf than I. What would be, besides your mental state, your downfall at Augusta? Because we see guys sometimes go into that second to final day or the final day, and everything seems to be going right. Then all of a sudden, they take a nosedive. I know a lot of golf is mental, but what would be some of the more physical factors that someone would falter at the Masters?
Well, I mean, a lot of folks, would look at a golfer and say, "Oh, that's." They don't really exert a lot of power. You just walk the course and it's a lazy sport. But I'm not going to lie to you. You get done playing 18 holes and that's just one round. Some of these guys play 54 holes, 3 rounds if they make the cut. And if not, they play 72 holes, all in 4 days. it's a lot on the body. It's a lot on your knees. It's a lot on the back. And it's not an easy sport to play. These guys are in fantastic shape, even though some of them might have a little bit of a belly. I promise you, they are in fantastic shape. They're in, again, it's not an easy sport to play, but I think the mental part of it is really the biggest aspect. The physical part is I would say 80%. The mental part is probably 100% in order to win this. You got to be at 180% if you want to win the Masters. And look, Zach Johnson, like they said, he's turning it back to like 2007. He's having an incredible day.
Yeah, he
putting
did.
himself into contention.
He did bogey his last hole. He did finish the round 4 under. 6 under. I'm sorry, he finished around 6 under, and now he's 4 under for the tournament. He's in 11th, tied for 11th place right now.
Goodness.
I want to know when we're going to go out and play a round.
Oh, you're not going to see Vlad play golf at any time soon. Vlad doesn't know, no.
You've never been to Augusta, I'm guessing, by the way you're speaking.
No, I've never been to Augusta.
Is that a mission? Bucket list?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I mean,
I'd like to go.
St. Andrews.
I'd like to
the
go,
golf
man.
fan. Which is the bigger golf fan's dream? St. Andrews or Augusta?
No, I think Augusta, just because of the exclusivity of it and the fact that you have to get into a raffle in order to get tickets. I know one of my buddies, he goes to the women's round every year, so he was there last weekend for the women's round. But look, even just being at Augusta, I think for anything would just be amazing.
They say it's heaven on earth.
It's St. Andrews, though.
I say it's heaven on earth, Augusta.
Isn't that where the first golf? That's where the first golf happened.
Yeah, but it's Augusta, baby.
Yeah,
but it's St. Andrews.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. If you ask a golfer which one of the major tournaments means the most,
of course they're
going to say the Masters. Why? Because you get the green jacket. Not a lot of people have the green jacket.
So let's bring it back to soccer before we let you go, Daniel Solano. And I mean, I hope we win them both, but which would be more valuable and more important to Inter Miami? Would it be CONCACAF Champions Cup, which means pretty much the whole continent, or would it be MLS Cup at the end of the season?
I think the CONCACAF Champions Cup is the absolute goal because that puts you into another echelon. That gives you the international trophy. But look, I think they're in line to win both. They have an absolute very, very deep lineup. If you've seen, they've changed their center backs in almost every single game, and they've played fantastic. And look, this team is ready to go. I don't think that you need to stop being cocky, Dan. I think you can continue being cocky Inter Miami fan and or cocky Heron fan, if you want to call it that. And let's go Inter Miami, really.
From Battered Herons podcast, Daniel Solana, how can we get in touch with you and how can we follow you even closer with all the stuff that's going on with Inter Miami? Because like we've been talking about, it's going fast and furious right now.
You can follow me at all my social media at Dice El Dani. So I changed it up for you guys. Dice El Dani. That's my new thing. I also have a Substack that I started. You can find the link on that on my Instagram. And that's where I write about Inter Miami. I do some some exposés on some of the let's say unsung heroes of Inter Miami. I have an article up on Noah Allen, an article up on Yannick Bright, one on Maximiliano Falcon. So if you want to go up and read that, you can catch the link on my Instagram there at Dice El Dani.
All right, Daniel Solana, get back to watching the Masters. Get to playing some golf tomorrow. And let's get Inter Miami another victory. Let's get those 3 points. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, fellas. It's always a pleasure. Man. See you next time.
Later, better Solana.
Daniel Solana went there from Battered Herons podcast. We're going to come wrap up the show, get you ready for the Miami spring game next here on Sports Day 560 WQAM.
Football
WQAM, your favorite station.
Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Woo! We are in the middle of a whirlwind of fun when it comes to sports in the South Florida world. Let's just break it down real quick. My goodness, the Masters is going on right now. Very exciting. I am like Daniel Solana, cheering for Bryson DeChambeau.
I'm going for Rory and Scott.
Rory had an immaculate day yesterday.
What a day. And then, you know what?
He's going for the Grand Slam.
And what sucks is that he probably would be up maybe no worse than 8 under. No, he'd probably be tied with Rose. So he might be 9 under, 10 under going in with the lead in the third round if he didn't mess up the first day.
Mm-hmm.
He double bogeyed the last 2 holes
so
in
golf
in the first day.
Golf, it's a bitch goddess. What can I say? We just talked to Daniel Solana talking about Inter Miami. They got a lot to play for. Of course, Chicago Fire tomorrow up in Chicago. The Chicago fans, Soldier Field, very excited to hopefully finally see Messi. First 2 times he didn't play. CONCACAF Champions Cup, a chance to win basically a continental cup for Inter Miami, which would be huge for them. The Miami Heat, they're finishing out the season tomorrow at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock game. We're going to start our pregame at 11:45 right here on 560 WQAM with a chance to go into that 9-10 matchup. Hopefully make some noise in the play-in tournaments against the Chicago Bulls and whoever might be in the second round of the play-in.
Noise, man?
But make some wins, put some wins, get some things going together. They skull drug the Pelicans last night. Not much else to say about that other than that. Tonight, UFC 314 going to be happening at the Kaseya Center. That is a huge event for South Florida. That's been having its share of huge events over the past year or so, something like that.
And what's great to know is that at least there's asses at Kaseya Center in the month of April, because barring a miracle, I don't see a game happening in Kaseya Center after tomorrow afternoon.
A lot of people saying that right now. Let's not forget about our Marlins today. Actually, one of the games that you and I had circled on the calendar a long time ago. It's Venezuelan Heritage Day at Lone Depot Park. It is Sandy Alcantara on the mound. He's Dominican, in case you're wondering. I know some people were kind of confused
and
about
I would have
that.
went with you today.
Yeah, I was getting the tickets.
Because there's no game. There's no game tomorrow. I mean, we're not working tomorrow because of the Heat game. So yeah, I'm not.
And Chino Inacho performing after the game, and Vlad and I are
definitely would have stayed there for that.
Oh, I ain't leaving Chino Inacho, man. Come on now, some good Venezuelan dance music. And then Thursday, Vlad and I are actually going to the game, so we're gonna be out there.
Yes, if you can make it.
Yep. Follow us at Dan Day Radio at Vlad 2078. We'll be posting. We'll be tweeting. Look for Ask Officer Perez. We'll be posted up near her, hopefully. And then, of course, we'll be running around the stadium, having a great time there. The stadium.
Yeah, if you follow us at Dan Day on what's your socials?
At Dan Day Radio on all the social medias.
Or at Vlad 2078 at all the social medias.
You'll see us.
You'll see us. We'll
be making it happen. So that's another exciting thing. Of course, it's always exciting. The news that seems to never stop with the Dolphins, their teammates, their personnel, the free agents. It's always wild and crazy. The Hurricanes got their spring game coming up in just a couple of minutes. We got the pregame starting. That's going to be Joe Zagacki, Danny Rabinowitz, a.k.a. Hollywood, Brian Monroe going to be in the mix. Maybe some Alex Dono action. It's going to be interesting to see how this defense plays, how the backup quarterback position works out, and a whole lot of other things. Canes, they're getting these transfers left and right. True Washington transferring from New Mexico with the Lobos. He is coming here to play for Jay Lucas. He averaged 11 points last season. There's just a lot going on. Take a breath every once in a while. Vlad and I are going to be here actually helping out with the spring game. So that
yes, we are.
Vlad's going to take a little break, and because he's been designated to take a little break after this. And then
what's there to do for a pregame? Of a spring break.
You're going to catch some highlights? You want to catch some pregame highlights?
Yeah, I guess. It's not even televised, so I definitely got to listen.
So the only place you can find it is right here on 560 WQAM. It's on campus, Cobb Stadium.
Apparently, people wanted to know if it was going to be televised, and a lot of ACC teams are going dark.
Yes.
Are going dark. I guess they don't want to give teams some type of competitive edge of having film on them, even because they can record the games or whatever.
Right.
So a lot of teams are going dark. So if you're not at Cobb Stadium, you will not be able to see this spring.
My guess is the reason they're going dark is a multitude. Number one, they don't want other teams scouting them. They also don't want other teams trying to poach players, as this transfer portal will reopen very soon. And we talked about Tennessee's quarterback, saw what was happening here in Miami and said, wait a second. I started last year for Tennessee and I'm making less than Carson Beck. Nope, I'm out. Now they're saying that there's some underhanded business between them and Notre Dame, that he might be going to Notre Dame. There's money in hand. I don't know. we'll have to wait and see. So just
yeah, Barry Jackson wrote an article about this yesterday, saying that UM's ABC televised opener against Notre Dame on the Sunday night of Labor Day weekend likely will attract more eyeballs nationally than most any Hurricane games in many years. But conversely, Saturday's 4 p.m. spring game likely will attract the fewest eyeballs for a UM spring game in many years, and that's by design. For the first time, UM is conducting the spring game in a way that will ensure a limited number of people see it by holding it on campus, as the school did last season, and by declining ESPN's offer to televise or stream the game, unlike its approach last year. So they're the ones who said no. ESPN was willing to say it. And an untelevised spring game for UM is rare, but does give you Miami potential competitive advantage in that 2025 opponents won't have access to video of the game.
It's looking more and more like the spring game, not maybe going the way of the dodo bird, but maybe going the way of
March Madness, maybe. Because remember how Midnight Madness used to be a thing in college basketball, and then now you don't even see it anymore.
I think it's going the way of the endangered species. I might say that because,
and that's a good point. We talked about this earlier, Cousin, about the fact that right after the spring game is when the portal season begins.
Right. NFL teams now, they have those closed practices. They say, no, nobody can get an advantage on us. What can't you get done in practice? But I don't know. I get excited about the spring game. I'm excited about what's going to be happening today, and I'm going to be talking about it probably on Monday or whenever I'm on again, because we're not on tomorrow because of the Heat game. It's Fan Appreciation Day, as it always is on the last game of the season at home.
And we won't be on next Sunday.
And we won't be on next Sunday because it's Easter/420. So we have to observe the holidays.
Vlad's celebrating 2 holidays.
Vlad is going to be deep into both holidays, very much so. He will have risen.
I'm going to be in some bunny smoking.
It will be the reason, yes. And then after that, it's just nonstop. Like I said, we've got all types of games going on. I mean, you get the Heat game early tomorrow. You get right after the Heat game, it's the Inter Miami game. So you can just, and roll into those two.
Monday night, you have Panthers Rangers, last Panther home game of the season.
Can't forget about the Panthers playing the Sabres tonight. Oh, right. How did we forget
they are
that?
playing the Sabres tonight. And then Tuesday night's final game of the NHL regular season could be an important game because
could determine home ice.
Winner of that game could be to have home ice advantage in their matchup. That's going to happen possibly 3 days later.
Little interesting what's going on with Inter Miami. They look like they're starting to kind of get a groove. Of course, they're going to be most likely getting their guys back once the playoffs really get rolling.
Ekblad's allowed to practice with the team
until a week out.
I think he's allowed to do some drills.
Okay. Dave Hyde was telling us because Dave Hyde covers literally everything in South Florida, not just the Dolphins, which he does a great job. But he said, I think a week out that he could start rejoining the team for limited practices. But it's going to be fun to see. Hopefully fun to see how this team gels back together. But you got to figure with a guy like Paul Maurice at the helm, Matthew Tkachuk, a true professional, Aaron Ekblad getting back in it, was having a great season. Brad Marchand getting his first goal with the team, seeming like things are going good. This team possibly could get things really rolling very quickly into the playoffs and continue on to their winning ways. We shall wait and see. The Heat, they have a history of beating the Bulls in the play-in games. But once again, you beat the Bulls, you still have to win another play-in game on the road against the loser of either Orlando or the Atlanta Hawks, which is no easy task. But hey, it's been one of those seasons. Maybe this team has a little more gas in the tank. They can get some things going. We shall wait and see. And then this evening, Vlad, I'm guessing you're watching the UFC fights.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to watch UFC 314. There is no NBA basketball to watch tonight, so I'm going to watch definitely the remaining with the third round of Masters. Some afternoon baseball. Marlins start at 4. Yankees play the Giants at 3.
We're going to keep an eye on that Marlins game while we're doing this spring game. Because the spring game, remember, it's blacked out. We can only have it on the radio, so we can put the TV on the Marlins.
Pretty much. And the third round of Masters.
Of course. Everybody's gripped by the Masters. Everywhere I go, whether it's Duffy's or 26 Degree Ruin in Pompano Beach, they're just talking about, oh, man, this Masters, the Masters. It's one of those special times of the year. It's like Christmas, man. It's like just everyone's happy and good and enjoying it.
No, you know what it is? It's kind of like, oh, spring is here.
Yeah.
Even though spring's been here for the last 3 weeks, but it's like definitely, it's spring. School's about to end. If you start seeing the Masters, Final Four, stuff like that, you're in April. You're about to hit the postseason. The end of the regular season's kicking in. We're close to the draft. We're like less than
WNBA draft. Believe it or not, is Monday.
I wasn't talking about that.
I know. I'm just saying for those that are WNBA.
No, I don't want to say nonsense. I wasn't talking about that. 12 days away from the draft.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's we're in a good time, man.
It's a do or die draft for the Dolphins too, by the way.
You think?
Chris Greer, you've been on the hot seat supposedly in the past.
Caliente.
Now it is mucho caliente. Calor. Mucho calor.
Sizzling. Man.
It is, yeah. So you got to hit on some of these draft picks.
You know when the meat's when the meat's sizzling?
Yeah.
And then like it's
yeah, it's popping.
It's like it's popping ridiculously. Yeah, that's the Miami Dolphins right now. That's Chris Greer, the general manager.
Get it right, Chris Greer, for all of our sakes, and especially for your job's sake, because we're going to be fans no matter what. You might not always be the general manager if you make some mistakes in this draft, so it's going to be very exciting. Enjoy the spring game that is coming up next with Joe Zagacki and the guys. Also enjoy the Heat game tomorrow, Inter Miami, and all the other great things that are happening. For my cousin, Vladimir Louison, I am Dan Day. Once again, you can get him at Vlad 2078. I am at Dan Day Radio. Once again, Thursday, please come on out to the Marlins game and find us. You can catch us on social media. We'll let you know. And let's go Marlins. Let's go Inter Miami. I'd say let's go Hurricanes, but there's really no winners and losers in the spring games. Let's just not anybody get hurt. And we're going to get the spring game started in just a minute. Once again, Vladimir Louison, Dan Day. This has been another edition of Sports Day on 560 WQAM.
Later, fools.
Text WQAM